Good afternoon and welcome to our broadcast of episode 2, Valley of the Whispering Titans, originally written by Jesse Decker and modified slightly by myself for our purposes. I'm your games master for this afternoon. I'm Brian F. Irving from Gethsemane Games and DH9 Broadcasting. The music you'll be hearing will be Tabletop Audio and Nox Arcana. I've just realised I said DH9 Broadcasting, I meant DH9 Radio, we haven't expanded yet. And our gaming system that we'll be using this evening is Green Ronin's Fantasy Age. The adventure, as I mentioned, is Green Ronin's as well. That's published in their Fantasy Age Lairs book, The Valley of the Whispering Titans. So if you are going to be a player in Valley of the Whispering Titans, I would suggest not listening too much further for the risk of spoilers. However, having said that, you might do yourself more harm than good if you're listening in the hopes of picking up some tips, because I've modified this quite heavily for our purposes. Our cast are Patrick Heaviside as Curge Razorclaw, Louise Morris as Nicholas Marty, Sean McGuile as Alderon Talaran, and the cast as Tamara Greyhawk. So welcome to the game. I just noticed the music has oddly stopped despite being on a loop, so I'm just going to set it off again. Let me just double check that. Yeah, it doesn't actually appear to be looping properly. I'll sort that in a moment. There's something I should have caught in a sound check. Okay, so the story so far. In search of Courage Razorclaw's old friend from their youth, from many years ago, the Wilderness Wanderers have followed some hints and tips and rumours that they've picked up from trappers and mountain people about a strange, mysterious valley in the mountains where titanic skulls gaze down across the valleyscape itself. As they understand it, the old friend of Courage seems to have disappeared in this valley about a decade or so ago, and this being the first solid lead they've had, the Wilderness Wanderers entered the valley only to be attacked by animals of various types that shouldn't really have been working in concert. Each of these animals somehow strangely different from the natural form, warped in some way, presumably by the evil influence of the valley itself, which the Wilderness Wanderers can even feel as they progress in the valley. They met Melorsa, the Fae, who is, they believe, a dryad, or some kind of mountain nymph, dwelling in the first of the skulls, who told them the story of the valley, that there is some evil essence, evil force that broods within the valley, somewhere within its centre, that has spread out and warped all the plants and animals and creatures excuse me, of this part of the wilderness. Some time ago, she remembers meeting Courage's old friend, who pressed on into the valley centre in the hopes of being able to find and destroy the cause of whatever evil it was. Unfortunately, he was never seen again. So, the party have agreed to press on and try and finish the job that Callum Rasmil never did finish. And as they progress deeper and deeper into the valley, we rejoin them on our valley map. So, there you are. You should all see the new map now. It should be resolving slightly in a moment. It has done for me now. You have a party movement token there. By the way, I'm getting a slight reverb off somebody's mic. I'm hearing elements of myself back, but I'm not quite sure whose it's coming from. So if anybody thinks it might be them. Okay, so yes, you should be able to move your token yourself. You're currently on the Learning Skull, the Learning Skull, which is where Melorsa lives. You can move.
Sorry, did you say the Learning Skull?
You mean the Seeing Skull?
I do mean the Seeing Skull, yes. Yes.
Does that mean another skull is a learning skull?
Yes.
It might mean something. It might mean something.
Or perhaps it's the leering skull.
Perhaps it is. Yeah.
Edward Lear's skull.
Yes.
Before we leave, how exactly did we enter the skull? Was it through the mouth?
No, it was the way the skull sat on the ground. You've got that gap where if you just feel your own jaw, if you come to the back of the jawline, you'll notice that your jaw, there's like a gap between that and where the bone of the back of the skull starts.
Right.
So you went in through there to get underneath the skull, and then you came up through the hole in the bottom of the skull, which is where the spinal column would normally connect. Melorsa had a ladder leading up from that and to a trapdoor. That's how you got into that skull.
So had we actually seen inside the oral cavity?
Yes.
We had. Okay.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
That would be the basement, effectively.
Essentially, yes. And in fact, that's where you left the wagon initially, in the oral cavity under the lower mandible, behind the lower mandible, I should say. Yeah. You're not sure that all the skulls will be laid out exactly the same, of course. You're still not entirely sure whether these are genuinely Titanic skulls that have been petrified or whether they're very cleverly carved. Although both Nicholas Marty and Kurge do believe that these are actually petrified bone. That's the position you're in at the moment. That's what you think you are seeing. So you can move your token. If you keep it to about 2 squares at a time, just in case you run into anything else. And if you do, I will let you know.
I suggest we walk along the bank of the river and just head east towards the Skull of Fear.
Okay.
You mean sort of go south from here into, say, this square here? So let's if we were to draw the path.
Yep.
Yep, feel free to draw on the map, that's fine.
as good best we can, sticking as close to the river as possible.
Exactly right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our desired path.
In fact,
yeah.
In fact, I'd go so far as to say we've got an amphibious wagon.
You have.
But the river flows.
It's flowing in the wrong direction, which is why I'm thinking. How about we rig it up to our horse and pull it like you would a canal boat? How fast is the flow of the river, and could we pull against it reasonably?
For some reason, I've just killed the token. Sorry. Apologies.
So you have, yes. Okay, just give me a second.
I was trying to take out the arrows.
And the token went as well. Okay, not a problem.
Yes.
Let me just find.
I didn't realise that I could actually delete the token.
Yes, unfortunately, there's no way to stop me doing that if I give you control of it. Well, I suppose there is. I could stop you editing it, I think. No, I think if you can move it, you can delete it. So let me just have a look and see where I put the token. Okay, I have no idea where that is.
So she's the only dryad in the valley.
Yes. I might have to give you a different token this time. Give me a second, because I'm not quite sure what I saved that one under. No, that's okay. It happens.
This is an authentic tabletop experience.
Yes,
Sean, you've effectively just knocked the miniature off the table and smashed it. So Brian's having to get a spare out of his box.
Yeah, essentially that is the virtual tabletop version of the same thing, isn't it?
That basically is one of my, I don't know, people handling your miniatures roughly is a kind of aggravation for me. That's kind of triggering.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You put so much time and effort into actually creating something, and someone just goes, and it's not deliberate, but it's less than careful, if you know what I mean.
I know
it's
what
like
you mean.
sort of. It's as if they've thrown it on the floor and stood on it deliberately. Your brain just goes.
Yeah. My problem when we were wargaming with Baz was he always used to have pike blocks with some of the pikes stuck directly upwards, and I would invariably stab myself right in the nail bed with one of the pikes at some point.
Yeah, you've got to be careful of those sort of things.
Absolutely, and quite often that would break one of the pikes off as well. So I not only felt the torturous pain of stabbing myself in a nail bed, but also the guilt of having broken a pike off somebody's miniature. Okay, so I just need to set this up so it's controlled by all players. There you go. You have a brand new. I should probably give it sight as well, or it's not going to be able to see where it's going. And there we go. You have
We're
a
not in the
brand new
dark now.
party.
It's had to be replaced with an unpainted miniature, unfortunately.
Yes, indeed. Don't worry, I will remember what I saved the original one under and be able to bring
Tesco
that up
value token.
Tesco value token. Okay, so you were discussing the possibility of changing the wagon's setup so that it turns into a boat. All you need to do, as you know, is take the wheels and axles off and you load those in. And I think you just asked me, would the horse be able to pull against the current? Now, you'll remember from last week I mentioned that there is a deceptively strong undercurrent.
Yes.
That's not immediately obvious that you discovered by dipping something into the river last week. So, because you brought a single horse, you're not absolutely positive it could, not with the weight of the whole party and their equipment in. You're also not convinced it couldn't. It is quite a strong animal. It's a draft animal. It might be able to. It depends just how fast that current gets.
Right. Was the idea everybody be in the boat except for one person who was riding on the horse?
It could be that. The idea is open to further ideas.
Sort of thing, so that nobody thought for sure.
Mainly, it was a matter of let's go along the river because we've got sort of a clear line of sight along it, rather than going through anything that's more heavily wooded.
I don't. Yeah, I was going to say I don't think we should risk taking the horse and the wagon with us.
Okay.
Because of the nasties in the woods, we've seen,
That is
witnessed
a good point.
that type
Sorry,
of
I've
thing.
just been chatting away and realised I was on mute.
And it is.
So,
I wondered
Okay.
why you were being quiet. Yeah, I was just about to say,
I do apologise to everybody there. I just massively redlined with my bellowing laugh. I do apologise.
at the thought of me being quiet.
Indeed, at the thought of you, I would never dream of saying such a. Actually, there's a lie. You know I would.
Right.
Look, I recently found out that my name meaning is Loud Warrior, and it just I've been living up to it my entire life without knowing it.
Indeed, so. Yeah. Okay, so the current discussion is about whether or not you think it's safe to take the horse and cart. Now, bear in mind that you did consider venturing into the area with the Oxbow Lakes at some point, and you know, both from what you saw through the skull's eyes and from what Melorsa was able to tell you, that and indeed quoth your raven, is that area is quite marshy. So you would probably have to leave the wagon behind at some point. So I suppose the question is, do you want to leave it with Melorsa underneath her skull? That sounds
Feels
really
like
odd.
it's safer here.
Okay.
Well,
I'll leave that to the
personally.
party to decide for themselves.
Horse-wise, we could always ask his opinion.
Of course, you could.
Of course, you could ask a horse.
That's a very good point. You could. Do you know what?
I mean,
During the
if you want
sound test,
some more sarcasm there.
yeah. During the sound test, my voice was considerably low, and now it seems to be a little bit on the high side according to the thing. So if anybody on the stream is finding me too loud, just let me know and I'll deal with it.
No, she didn't say party members there, Louise. You don't find it too loud, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Taking the horse might be a risk.
Well, other than transport of us and various bits and pieces of equipment, not that we've got a lot. What motivation is there to bring it with us at all?
Good point.
If we need to carry anything back with us, would be my first thought.
Float down the river.
If we find anything big that needs to be transported,
I'm just going to throw something out here. This is just the voices in your head. This is not the games master saying you should do this. This is just a games master pointing out. You can add this to your things to consider if you wish to. You could always split the difference, take the horse with you, and leave the wagon, because it's the wagon that's most likely to be a problem once you try and enter the wood itself and the swamps. Whereas the horse, I say swamps, marsh, I should say, they're very different things. The horse should be okay. Never-ending story scenes notwithstanding.
I was just about to say it. No. Sorry.
That's kind of traumatic. Flashbacks. Let's
yes,
not go there.
indeed. Yeah. So that's an option for you. You could leave the horse and the wagon here. You could leave just the wagon here and take the horse with you. Or you can try and take both with you. So it's entirely up to you. Or you can come up with a fourth option that I haven't thought of, because I know players are want to do that.
Yeah.
The only reason I had to want to take it with us at all was as transport to go upstream, to use the river as a very clear path. But that does mean having either the horse or me in horse or bison form,
Right. Yeah.
dragging
That's a very good point, right?
dragging it along.
If we do need to bring anything back, you can always just turn into a donkey or something, and we'll have you carry it all and go back.
Horse.
Well,
Or-
yes.
I can turn into a horse.
Yeah.
And I could potentially carry it. It depends on how big it is and whether it would be feasible to just because we don't have any sort of packs or anything that I could wear.
Yes.
We've got some ropes.
We could, right, turn the next giant skull upside down and tie you to its teeth or something and use that as a wagon.
I might want to point out to you at this point that the skulls are approximately 20 metres front to back.
You could handle that, couldn't you?
I feel that might be a bit much for him.
Turns into Godzilla.
Courage looks at Nicholas with a withering stare.
No. Can't Nicholas just use water magic and float it down the down
In
the river?
the form of Paddington Bear with one of his stares that he reserves for very rude people.
Right, so you're now down as the Rude Bear. What rhymes with Rude Bear?
I don't know, but does it just me, or does that sound like a rapper? Unfortunately, it's probably a rapper from, the home counties somewhere. who's trying to rap about what a terribly hard life he's had on the streets, but was actually brought up upper middle class, and his mum and dad are both accountants.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Mr. B, the gentleman rhymer.
Indeed,
and his buddy, what's it, Dull Dog.
So, have we come to any decision yet about what you're doing with the wagon?
Okay, let's store the wagon with Melorsa. We'll take the horse, unless there's any objections, and we will go with the first idea of walking along the riverbank on this side.
On the north side, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got the majority of the skulls to explore as we go before we have to cross the river again. And when we want to do so, we can come all the way back west and get the boat if need be, because we haven't seen a bridge or anything up to now.
You haven't, no. You have seen a possible a fording point. I can't remember if you used the fording point or if you came across in the boat. But there are occasions, well, I say occasionally, you don't know further up, but you know of at least one fording point. But it is back here, as you say.
We do have precedent. We have experience in doing a makeshift bridge with a tree.
You do, yes.
Nothing stopping us doing that again.
There's nothing stopping you doing that again, no.
Lack of magic points.
Lack of magic points, and possibly the size is involved. So the river is up to 20 metres wide in certain areas.
We've
and
we've just
as
had a night's sleep, so I'm on full magic.
you should be on full magic at the moment.
We
Yes.
could expend as much magic as required to make a bridge here while while it's peaceful. Take another night's sleep. Come back with a full magic pool again.
Well, anyway, are we going to hike up the riverbank then?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Can do.
Okay.
Tales from the riverbank.
Okay.
Hammy and Roderick.
So I'll just move you the first 2 squares. Hello. Sorry, Alexa seems to want to tell me about something. I'll deal with it later. So you move. I've moved you the first 2 squares. So you're moving up the riverbank. This is probably the easiest going of the valley. The rest of the valley's got quite steep sides, and obviously between the Oxbow Lakes you're expecting marshland, so it's very, very slow going there. Along the riverbank it's actually some of the fastest going, although the ground is still very rough, so it's still quite slow going, and it is heading upwards as you go into the valley, but it's a relatively gentle incline at this point, so you're not exactly exhausting yourselves with this part of the journey. It should almost be a pleasant journey with this wide, apparently slow moving, but you do know about the undertow river flowing past you, and this, what is essentially, you are aware at the sort of part of your mind is aware, is it's a beautiful valley, or it looks a beautiful valley, but this sense of dread, this sense of danger is omnipresent. It's quite oppressive. So what should be a beautiful walk isn't. You're constantly on edge for danger. Can I have some perception seeing tests for you, please? It's all gone very quiet all of a sudden.
Sorry, I'm still here.
There we go. The dice have started to come through. Okay. So, Courage in particular is nervous. He's convinced he can hear things in the undergrowth and whatnot, and is constantly glancing around looking for them. Nicholas Marty, similarly so. Alderan, however, who is of all of you the most familiar with woods, even though Courage is a druid, Alderan is a wood elf, and there's nothing worrying you too well. The only thing that's worrying Alderan is how quiet it is. There's no.
I'll be back shortly.
Okay. There's no sounds of dangerous animals stalking you, but similarly, there's a lack of other animal sounds. You hear the occasional crow, but that almost invariably turns out to be Quoth, who is himself quite agitated as you continue your journey onwards. And you can see Kurt just looking at the tree line on both sides nervously, but you're pretty sure there's nothing there at the moment. But worse, you're pretty sure there's nothing there that should be either.
Do I still hear that weird noise that I was hearing last week that reminded me of the stuff from the monastery?
The strange whispering, yes.
Yeah.
You do.
Great.
In fact, there is a faint whispering, again, almost omnipresent. You can hear it almost all the time, whenever you concentrate on it. I don't know if anybody else other than me has tinnitus at all. But if you have, you'll be familiar with the...
I'm back.
Hello there. If you have, you'll be familiar with the idea of the sound's always there, but you don't always consciously notice it. But as soon as you think about it, you can hear it. The whispering's the same. There's this faint sort of whispering sound, but you cannot grasp any words in it. Every time you try, it's almost as if it just slips away. It becomes even harder to comprehend.
Mm.
And yes, that does have shades of the monastery of St. Cuthbert when it was under attack by the shadow demons. But I'm sure you'll be fine.
Suddenly got a Cradle of Filth song stuck in my head. The forest whispers my name.
I've had so much more respect for you if you just said Fields of the Nephilim.
Sorry. Sorry.
Never mind, I'll put it down to your youth. Okay, so other than that, nothing has happened though, so you can press on if you'd like to press deeper into the valley. Unfortunately, the arc of the river that you're coming to is going to bring you a lot closer to the tree line, which is already making some of you nervous.
Yeah, there's only one tree though.
I say to the rest of the party, are the rest of you feeling nervous at all? A little bit scared, maybe?
Wait, nervous not. Ah, no, I'm never scared.
Quoth is now
Absolutely not. Glances around.
Quoth is cawing and flapping his wings excitedly as you ask, which you suspect is his way of trying to say yes when you're not actively using your magic to speak to him.
Nah.
Roughly where on the map did this start to happen?
Roughly at the start of the map.
Here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it hasn't got any worse.
Not yet, it hasn't, no.
This is what we've been feeling the whole time.
This is what you've been feeling the whole time. Yeah.
Right, so we're not looking at some sort of active radius from the Skull of Fear then, unless it's, filling the entire valley.
If you are, you haven't reached it yet.
Okay.
Given the way it's looking, right, as my grandpa would say, it's not got eyes in its arse, so I can't imagine that,
You get there and it turns out it's a spider skull. Got eyes all over.
It's just all eyes.
Aye.
No skull, only eyes.
Or a beholder skull.
That wouldn't have stalks on it though.
True.
And it would look very, very nervous about the whole thing.
Okay, so take it you're going to press in a little bit deeper again. It's probably up to about here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As
You'd still be on the bank there.
You're still on
the
the riverbank, but you're coming a lot closer to that tree line than Kurge is entirely comfortable with. Something about even the trees feel malicious here.
Oh no!
Right.
Which Kurge is getting used to.
At this point, I suggest we light the torch.
Okay, you could do. Yeah.
Some fire.
Okay.
Do.
You light one of your. Is it a torch or a lantern that you've got? And who's got
I'm going
it?
to light the torch. I'm going to have a burning flame.
You have a burning flame. You take a burning brand, ignite it.
In a forest with a bear.
To be fair, he's a bear beast folk. At the moment, I mean.
How do we know Smokey isn't? He wears a hat, he talks.
Okay, that's a very good point. Okay, so your torch sputters into light. It doesn't actually shed any more light because you're in daylight. What it does do is burn away some of the shadows at the tree line, which prove that they are exactly that. They're just normal shadows. You don't see any of the trees recoiling. You don't feel any change in anything, other than you feel a little bit more confident from having the flame ready if you were needed. As you pass this point here, you're at the point where the riverbank's the narrowest. It climbs suddenly up into the tree line, and there's very little space for you to pass actually on the bank without the risk of sliding down the mud wall into the river itself. So you're forced to climb up almost to the tree line itself. Can I have another set of perception seeing tests from you, please? Okay. Well, you're doing quite well here. So, what you all notice is that there isn't anything lurking in the tree line at that point, which you are somewhat relieved to hear, because you were kind of expecting an ambush. Even Alderan, who's been aware of the fact that there's not been anything in the tree line, he'd seen that area and thought if there was going to be an ambush, that would be a great place for it. But actually, there are no animals here at all, either. if anybody would like to make any specific perception tests, tell me what they are, and I'll tell you if you need to roll or not.
Do we see any? Carry on.
I got 4 points of stunts there. I just want to see if anything's watching us, if there's anything that looks as though it's watching us that wouldn't normally be any of the animals, for instance.
Okay, well, there are literally no animals around, so they can't be watching you.
Okay.
You do have a sense of being watched, but actually that's gotten weaker the further away you've gotten from Melorsa's skull. From the...
It's probably her watching us.
It could be, yeah. So yeah, the sense of being watched is still there, but it's definitely weaker than it was before. Sean, you were going to say something as well.
And my question was, are there any bones? Any vines? Impaled animal carcasses?
Okay. There are a few bones jutting through the ground here and there, old bones that have been there a long time. Where they jut through the ground, they are partially sun-bleached, so you know they've been there for a while. But closer to the earth itself, they look as if they've only recently been slightly revealed. Since you're paying such close attention to the ground, could I have a perception tracking roll from you, please, if you've got it?
I don't have tracking, but I can certainly roll perception.
Yeah, feel free to just make a perception roll.
14, 2 stop points.
Okay. You do notice some animal tracks here. And what's interesting is all of them that you do see, there's not exactly a game trail, but there's occasional tracks. At first, you don't really notice the paw prints so much as the broken undergrowth and flattened grass and whatnot. But occasionally, especially closest to the river where the ground is the dampest, you do find partial prints. But what's interesting is that just glancing up about 5 to 10 metres on, they stop and turn round. All of them, without fail.
Okay, so what I'll do is, are there any handy stones available?
Yes.
On the floor?
Yes.
A rock?
Yeah.
Right, pick a rock up and throw it in that direction.
Okay. You pick up one of the rocks and throw it in that direction to see if there's some kind of strange wall of force that's repelling things. Nothing happens. The rock sails well past where the trails all turn round. It just bounces when it hits the ground, maybe once, twice, a third time, and then lies still.
Right, so these are trails made by animals who've got to a certain point and then just turned on their heel and gone back in the opposite direction.
That's correct, yes.
Not wanting to be next to the Skull of Fear.
That's absolutely correct, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Scary. Spooky in the woods.
Well, I don't know why it's called the Skull of Fear, because I feel perfectly happy and safe right now.
Well, in that case, it's time to press forward, I would suggest.
Okay.
Yes.
As you approach the titanic skull sat upon its rocky plateau, you see a huge cleft in the left-hand side of the skull, through the orbit of the eye and down into the lower jaw, as if the mighty titan whose skull this once was had been struck a lethal blow from a gargantuan sword. You feel an immense sense of foreboding, as if some unnamed dread was reaching into your chest to still your beating heart. Can I have willpower, self-discipline tests from everybody, please?
What about courage?
Courage
I've
will
got
do
courage.
instead, yes, I'll allow for courage. Okay. So, all of you feel very nervous. You can sense the oppressive force of dread pressing in on you. You're all actually shaking very slightly as well.
Hang on. Yeah, my score's actually 13.
13 because it hasn't added the bonus.
Nicholas Marty's actually a 14.
So hold on. 5, that's 11. 13.
It's got 10. Yeah, on the dice. 2
Oh,
for
sorry, I'm
willpower
reading
makes
tomorrow's.
12.
Reading tomorrow's there, yes.
Plus courage. So we haven't actually got those and not focuses are not correctly.
Adding in, yeah. Okay, we
Adding
have
in.
had this problem. I think every time the character sheet is updated, this problem starts again for a week or two, and then.
I'm just going to try it again. Bear
Yep.
with me.
Okay.
I've just overtyped the 2.
Yes, usually if you just go into your character sheet and overtype the 2 on the focuses, that will usually correct the problem. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's what my score would have been.
Okay, that's not a problem. All of you feel this assessor. I'll try that again.
Perception's also failing. My previous perceptions are all +2.
Okay.
On. Hang on. So why didn't that actually do? That just did perception.
My perception
that was
seeing was fine.
Sorry, that's a tracking one. I sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
the previous willpower courage didn't work either.
Right, okay. So, you all sense this sense of oppression pressing down on you. You're all shaking somewhat, but you all manage to drive yourselves on, despite your fears, despite this sense of dread which is creeping bone deep into you. And you've heard tell of being chilled to the bone by fear. Some of you have probably felt it before. You're certainly feeling it now. And it's not just a turn of phrase. It literally feels as if the heat has been drawn from you by the sense of terror as you approach this skull still closer and closer and closer. Nonetheless, you do have the strength of courage to do so. And I am just going to drag you over to the next map.
I'm going to try and make everybody feel a little bit better by brushing it off as, gosh, it's cold around here, isn't it? Let's huddle together for once.
Okay, make a performance test, please. Communication performance.
Yeah.
I was expecting boars to attack us out of the trees,
Yeah.
From the
Just
shrubbery.
be cooler.
It would be a
How was
ambush.
a decent roll?
A ambush. Oh. Okay, so let's see. Your performance roll has been extremely good, to the point that you've got enough stunt points to give the entire party +1 on the next fear test.
Excellent. Of course it was good. I'm an excellent bard.
Indeed so. Far be it from me to say otherwise. So, let me just have a quick look. Okay, that's all I need for...
So with this one having been mortally wounded to the face and radiating fear, might it be some sort of pattern that they retain in this state whatever their last living state was, whatever their last strong emotion was?
That's a very interesting point, and I think that's probably worth 25 experience points, just as Nicholas Marty's
Thank you.
idea to keep everybody's courage up was as well. I think.
Splitting headache.
Sorry, you character has or you have?
No, that skull has.
Oh, the skull has.
But,
Sorry, I just remembered you mentioned when we locked in that you had a
also
bit of
have
a
a
headache.
headache, but yeah.
Okay, so Nicholas Marty's song to keep you all motivated and to keep you all brave does actually seem to be having an effect, and you are pressing on despite this. You can feel your eyes drawn to the skull because that's where these waves of fear are radiating out from as well. However, could I have a perception test, please? And each character may choose to either use hearing or seeing.
Right. Does anybody else have the hearing focus?
I don't.
No.
I'm just going to say it.
Right. I do. So if somebody else wants to do seeing, I won't do that. So that we hedge our bets.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do seeing.
So, Patrick, you can hear some of the undergrowth rustling up ahead.
Okay.
You get the impression there's not enough of a breeze to be rustling the undergrowth to this level, so you get the impression there is something there. These animals that have been missing, Perhaps there's one up ahead, although having said that, the animals all seem to run away from this area, so perhaps it's not an animal, but there's something up ahead, you think.
I say to Tamara, knock an arrow.
Okay. Tamara knocks an arrow. Are these the current perception rolls I'm seeing? 15 from
Yes.
Nicholas Marty, 20 from Alderan. Okay. In that case, Alderan, you're the only person to have actually seen something. So I'm going to do a ping in the hopes that you can see me pinging. So this undergrowth here that's pinging now, you can see a wolf eyes glaring back at you from the undergrowth. And it's round about where Kurge can hear the undergrowth moving as well. As the wolf becomes aware of the fact that it's been spotted, you can see it creep forward one paw at a time, and then the next paw, its head lowering, its ears flicked backwards, flat against its skull. As its head is lowered now, it's glaring straight at you.
Does it look corrupted?
It does a little bit, yes. Its eyes are almost entirely black, with just sickly green specks in the centre.
Right, I'll throw the lit torch at it.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to give you specifically a round of... By the way, take 25 points for the idea of the lit torch. Make a accuracy throwing roll for me as well, please.
This is just on accuracy. Oh, that's not bad.
Is there laughter on this incredibly creepy music track?
Not that I've noticed.
Oh, okay.
Dun,
That's
dun,
weird.
dun.
Am I just getting way too in character here? Genuinely, I'm hearing voices now.
Maybe I've spooked you. I've done it before.
14 with 2 stunt points.
14 and 2 stunt points. Give me a second to just double check. The wolf's in heavy cover, so you just barely hit it, actually. You fling the torch, and the wolf kind of sees it coming and rears backwards, but it's just a little bit too slow, and the torch thumps it in the front shoulder. Roll a d6 plus 1 damage for me, please. You can add your perception to it since it's a thrown weapon.
And here's the funny thing.
Yeah.
Now, d6 plus perception for damage, right? But what's its dexterity?
That's a very good point.
Are we allowed to add?
Well, yes, I suppose you would. Yeah, you are
Pinpoint
a rogue.
accuracy.
You do have pinpoint accuracy. Yes, you can.
And if I've got 2 stunt points,
Its dexterity is 2,
yeah,
and you have 2 stunt points. Yes.
right. Which obviously I'm going to do mighty blow on it.
Don't mighty blow on the torch. You'll blow it out.
I think this wolf's gonna have regret.
I think this wolf is going to have regrets. Go for it anyway. Roll the damage.
Right. Okay.
This is going to be a lot of damage for a casual surprise attack at the start of the action, isn't it? Right, anyway.
Right. So,
Such is
so
life.
I'm rolling 3d6 plus.
Okay.
And you said perception is added because it's a thrown attack.
That's right. Yeah.
Are you sure about that? Because normally you add strength to thrown attacks.
Okay, add your strength instead.
Because it's only bows and guns that get
Then a
perception.
perception. Yeah. Okay.
And arcane blast, right? Okay. So it's 2 less than what it would be anyway.
Well, I'm sure the wolf is very thankful for that. 16 damage. Okay, so you throw the torch at the wolf, which yelps as the torch hits it. It sort of flashes across, sparks across its fur. Some of the fur ignites, but only briefly, and just shrivels and curls. 3 points off for its corrupted armor, so that is corrupted hide rather. That is 13 that gets through. That's quite a lot. So the wolf's yelping in pain. A normal animal at this point would automatically run away from a fire attack of such ferocity. However, nobody ever said that this creature was normal. In fact, you already suspected that it was not. So, with that, I think it's time for us to... Let me just roll this out.
Initiative.
And clear it off from the last round. Yes, initiative, please. Feel free to roll your initiative.
What form does the corruption take?
It is differed in that the wolves seemed to have these kind of bony protrusions and the hide was much tougher. The boars you were attacked by were shedding a sort of greeny orange flame. And the elk didn't actually look corrupted at all until it started glaring at you and foaming at the mouth. So the corruption appears to take a slightly different form with each creature as far as you've seen so far.
So it's not like they're growing branches of wood or anything out of themselves.
You haven't seen that at all.
Okay.
I'm getting quite a heavy echo of my sound coming back through somebody's.
Why
Somebody
don't we
else's
all
now.
mute ourselves, the three of us, and then Brian, you do some talking, and
Okay,
then we can switch on one at a time and see who it is.
okay. Give that a try then. If you could all do that, that sounds like a plan. Okay, so currently I'm not hearing it come back at all. So Sean, would you like to turn back on, please?
Right, I'm on.
Okay, so I'm continuing to talk. I'm not hearing it, so it's not coming from you. Patrick, could you turn back on, please?
Done.
Okay, so I'm currently talking and I'm not hearing an echo from you. Louise, could you turn back on, please?
Hello.
Hello, so now I'm talking and I'm not hearing... Ah, yes, it's you. It's you,
Ah,
Louise. I'm hearing a little bit of echo of
hang
myself
on.
coming back from you.
Is that better?
I will continue to talk. I can still hear it, but it's not as bad as it was.
Okay. Hang on. How about now?
Okay, so I'll continue. Again, still hearing it, but very slightly less so than before. And it seems to have... Yeah, it's still there, but it's not quite as intrusive. So
Okay.
we might be...
Don't think there's very much more I
More
can
that you
do
can
about
do.
it, unfortunately, because I'm using like the built-in mic, and sometimes it's to do with it echoing off things in front of the laptop.
It will
But the
be.
only
Yep.
thing in front of the laptop now is me.
Yeah, well, you pretty much do have to stay there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, so I think...
Sorry.
No, that's okay. We will cope. Such is life, such are the way of things. So, I'm just going to organise this lot into descending order. So, Alderan, having taken the wolf by surprise, flinging the torch at it, which has landed in the undergrowth, but fortunately for you, well, not necessarily for you, but fortunately for the wolf at least, the undergrowth hasn't taken light. The wolf itself has been damaged by the attack quite severely. However, it seems to be still snarling and heading straight for you. Alderan, it is you to go. What would you like to do?
Right, okay. This is the issue. So, can I move to there and shoot it?
You can, yes.
Which is what I will do then.
It's still in cover, so it still gets a bonus, so you're still going to need a 14 or better to hit it.
Oh,
15
missed.
with 4 points of stunts. So if you'd like to tell me...
That was a 14, sorry, right. Okay.
14 is the target number that you needed to hit. Yeah, it would normally be 12 because it's getting 2 for the cover that it's in. So that's 14. So Alderan's elven Hawkeye senses he's managed to thump a arrow right into this tainted wolf. If you'd like to decide on the stunts you're going to select.
Stunts, right. I'm gonna have to go and I know what page it is. Yeah.
I think, if I remember rightly, I altered because we still accidentally had the playtest version in last week. And I think I've corrected that and replaced them with the correct ones now. I think. So
Yeah.
no, I haven't. That's
What do we
funny.
do
I can
here?
remember doing it, but it doesn't look like. Never mind. Just go to the book and.
Right. Okay. 4 stunt points. Hmm. Right. This is where it becomes a, let's see, it's a mighty blow.
Yep.
And it's knocked prone. And
Yep.
it's knocked back.
Okay, mighty
Strength.
blow, knocked prone, and knocked back too. So, let me just, if you want to roll the damage, I'll put the bits on.
And the damage is 21.
Good grief.
Oh,
Right.
is it within 6 yards of me?
Let me just double check, but it looks like it would have been, yes. So,
So that's 22 then in that case.
22 in that case, okie dokie. So yes, it was. So it's 22 points of damage. So your arrow thumps into it very, very heavily, just underneath the chin, which is raised up slightly from where it was before. It's penetrated deeply into its body. It shrieks in, yelps in pain, tumbling backwards, head over paw, to land in a heap, breathing heavily and slowly, blood oozing out from the wound. You're not sure whether that's it, whether it's done for or not. It's difficult to tell. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
No, that's okay. No, sorry. I was thinking something else there. No, carry on.
So it is now the wolf to go. So it's going to use half of its movement to stand back up, and it will need a morale test. Oh, wait a minute. No, actually it won't, for reasons you don't know about yet. So, despite the fact that this wolf is now in extremely bad way, it stands up, snarls at you, and charges, which takes you as a bit of a surprise. It won't get the bonus for charging though, because it had to stand up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, comes hurtling in, bound, snarls, leaps at you, and its slavering jaws are crashing shut on. That's a 16, is that a hit?
Yes, that manages to hit me.
On your arm then, for 8 points of damage. Okay. So, with that surprise, because you thought, the animal wouldn't continue, it's in such a bad way, it's liable, if you use harsh language, it's probably going to be fatal at this point. Courage to go, what would you like to do?
Are there more animals in this bush?
You haven't seen any more, but if you would like to make another perception scene roll, you can see.
Wolves tend to hunt in packs.
They do tend to hunt in packs, yeah. You would be surprised if it's on its own.
However, they have been acting pretty weird so far.
yeah.
So
Absolutely, they have been acting very weird so far. So, you are searching, well, not searching exactly, but you are perusing those trees in an attempt, or bushes in an attempt to spot other animals. You don't see any from there, but you think there's a one in the bushes further back.
Okay.
You're seeing flashes of that strange greenish glow that you got off the balls the first time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's focus down this guy here. Let's get him finished and done with. We'll have an arcane blast.
Okie dokie. So, Courage is about to open up with an arcane blast. If you'd like to make an attack roll, that's a 12. It's no longer in cover, so that's a narrow hit. Your arcane energy blasts from your paws as you thrust them forwards towards the wolf. The energy crackles around Alderaan and hits the wolf full in the face. Roll the damage. Ouch.
Nice.
9 points of damage. The wolf flops to the ground suddenly and just crackles away, burning from magical energy. You have killed it. That was your major action. Do you have a minor one you would like to carry out?
Well, the perception test and like
course
looking
you did,
around.
yes.
Yeah, that was a minor.
Okay, now, coming crashing through the undergrowth from exactly where you expected to see it, you see a corrupted boar hurtles out from the rear undergrowth. I'm just checking its speed. It's 15. It'll be coming in for the same target, so it thunders
13 for a bow.
for a bow. Yes.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for corrupted bow though.
Oh right, okay.
Some of their stats change when they become corrupted. So this can
Yeah, they get interesting.
They get much more interesting. They come thundering out of this one comes thundering out of the undergrowth, straight through where the wolf was, tramples the corpse of the wolf and attempts to gore Alderan. Let's see if it succeeds.
It rolls a 111, slips over.
You can always hope. Yeah. And it doesn't get that. 12, I think it's missed you. Seeing it coming, Alderan moves at the very last second, which takes the boar by surprise. Just this fluid sideways step, and the boar comes crashing past him instead. Nicholas Marty, what would you like to do?
I would like to try and whip up, what's it called?
Margarita.
Water whip.
A water whip.
Well, I would like a margarita as well, but a water whip.
Okay,
Shaken, not stirred.
Shaken, not stirred. Yeah. Blended, no salt. Okay,
There
go
you go.
ahead and
Done.
make your cast roll.
Yeah.
You've done that actually. Sorry, I was looking at
Yeah.
the wrong screen again. 4 points of stunts if you would like to select your stunts.
Oh god, hang on.
And the water whip itself just bursts from your hand. This long tendril of water which is somehow holding together in this whip-like form. It even cracks itself in the air for you.
This
Splashes everywhere.
is such a better spell now that I can actually roll high enough to make it succeed.
Yes,
4 points of stunts there, yeah.
4
Oh,
points of stunts.
by the way,
Yep.
do you have a magic arcana focus for it?
I do, yes.
You do. Well, that's missing.
Yes, it came up as
Oh,
0.
that's weird.
So if you have the focus as well as just knowing the spells from it, that would have actually been 2 points higher. Well, not that it matters.
Let me check. Yeah, I do. So that should be 2 points higher.
Okay, if you'd like to
You
type
need
the
to
2 over
Type
the
the
top
two,
of the
yeah.
the 2 that's already there. Again, we've seen this before. Every time the character sheets get updated, this fault reoccurs until we fix it manually.
I'd say it's taken itself out of the spell there as well, so I've popped it back in, so it should work next time. Right, 4 points of stunts. I'm gonna make that skillful casting actually.
To reduce the cost.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I do that twice?
Does it have a plus next to it? Let me just check.
No,
actually,
but
I've
what
got-
it says is reduce the magic point cost of the spell by 1. This can reduce the MP cost to 0.
Yes, because you could have cast it on used it on a spell that only had 1.
Okay, fair.
So
fair.
technically no, because it should have a range or a plus next to it. However, I don't see a problem with that.
Fair enough. Okay, cool.
So if you'd like to, I am going to allow it.
You could fast cast a second spell.
You could fast cast a second spell instead if you preferred.
Could.
Could you,
I don't think there's many of my spells would be that helpful in this instance.
Okay.
could you have a second water whip in your other hand?
I believe I've only cast it once, but let me check.
Split casting. It affects one target. Itself. So do yourself again.
It really wouldn't help you.
No.
It
you're not
doesn't
sure.
actually say whether I'd have to or not, but
Again,
I
it
kind
really
of
wouldn't
feel
help.
like that would be a bit weird.
Yep, and it really wouldn't help you. You can't use the second one and
No.
the first one in the same round anyway without the...
Yeah.
Don't cross the streams.
Yeah. So, if I...
So yeah, I'm gonna do as I said, and I'm gonna reduce the magic point cost.
You reduce the magic point cost so that the water whip forms in your hand and you still have plenty of magic to respond later. Is that spell a major action? I think it is.
Minor.
That's my minor.
minor,
Using
okay.
using it to actually damage is the
Something.
major.
Okay, and what's the hand-to-hand range on it? If it doesn't
hang on.
say it's 2 meters.
It
I
has
can
it.
attack targets up to 3 yards away.
3 meters away then, yes, because we're European
Yeah,
and we
sorry,
will go down
sorry.
fighting on this point. that's okay. So
Which,
yes, let's just see if the enemy is... whoa! I'm not on what I thought I was on. Do you want to do the measurement? I just accidentally almost moved you. Look at that. It is actually within 3 meters.
Yeah.
So go for it if you'd like to make the attack.
Okay, so how the frick do I do this? It is Water Arcana attack. Let me just. Oh, this has a lot of flipping between tabs. Sorry, I'll get used to it. Did that hit?
13 against a corrupted ball. Let me just have a check. It didn't, because from where you are, I would say that's in... I'm not sure it is, actually.
You need to add your Water Arcana to it.
That is
in
the
that
Water
case,
Arcana.
No.
No, you
Oh, it's
focus.
two less than it should have been.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's a hit.
15 is your actual value.
That's a hit.
Okay, that's
You need to update your focus as well, unfortunately.
right. Hang on.
Can you just do the damage so we can move on and you can sort that out?
Yeah, sorry. Right. How do I do damage? It's something plus intelligence, I believe. Right. So it's 1d6 plus my willpower,
Okay.
and my willpower is 2. There you go.
6 points of damage. Okay, so you smack the beast on the flanks with the water whip. Despite the fact that it is just water, it's somehow opened a bloody red gash down the side of it. Not deep, but you're still pretty pleased, because I think I'm right in saying that's one of the first times you've actually done damage with it.
I did last week as well.
Yeah, that's right, you did, yes. Okay, so by the time it gets through its hide, that's that much damage. Okay, so... Tamara Greyhawk, who would like to do the rules for Tamara on this Camaro?
Right, so she had an arrow knocked.
She
We'll
did.
we'll shoot straight at that boar.
Okay, do a twangy at it then.
We'll take aim. The aim button is missing off the sheet, so it's just a +1, yeah.
It's just a +1, yeah. Okay, that's 15. That's a hit with 5 points of stuns.
Ooh, nice.
Lovely. Is somebody else looking through the sheet?
Yeah, I was just looking to see what the powers were.
All right. Okay, we'll make that a lethal blow then.
Okay, roll the additional damage.
2d6, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Ouch.
6. So that's 12 points of damage from her shot. So she sinks an arrow from her bow deeply into the creature's flank, just above where Nicholas Marty has already caused a deep gash. That would have been 12 damage, reducing it by its hide. That becomes this amount. So it's wounded, and it's had better days. However, the rest of you are all somewhat distracted by what happens next, because what happens next is an immense creature, much larger than the others, the size of a great grizzly bear, comes thundering through the undergrowth, cawing at you. Its head, although its body, more sort of hooting really, although its body is that of an immense grizzly bear, its head is that of some kind of night predatory bird. An owl, one might say. TM, yes. It is something similar. So it comes thundering out of the undergrowth, bearing straight down on the party. It completely ignores Alderan, because he's already engaged, and it comes hurtling over to the others instead, placing itself, oddly you would have thought, right in the middle of all 3 other opponents, which you would think would be a dangerous place to put itself. I'm just going to take that extra point of damage that Sean's just pointed out in text.
Yeah, it's because the ball's within 6 yards.
Yes,
Takes an
you
extra
get the
point of
extra
damage.
+1. Okay, so the Nottingham attacks the rest of the party. Let's just have a look. Open up. Thank you very much. So, yeah, that's all I needed to know. It would be the claw first then. So it's going to attack. Who's it? Probably going to attack. I'm going to say Tamara. So it lashes out with one of its claws and slashes at her. 18, that's a hit. Slashes across her abdomen for 9 points of damage. Remembering to reduce that by her armor, please. It didn't stunt, so it doesn't get to do anything else. And it's background to combat round 2, and Alderan to go.
Right, okay. Yeah. Let's see. If I'm there, that's there. I may as well just shoot the ball.
Okay. You shoot at the boar again, make a 2-hit roll.
Do.
14 with 4 points of stunts. That's a hit. What would you like to do with the stunts?
So it's going to be a mighty blow.
Okay.
And
So that's an extra dice of
it's
damage.
going to be knocked prone,
And
and it's going to be knocked back.
Okay, so 2 to there, knocking it prone.
How do I aims come up there? That
Okay,
shouldn't have
so
come on.
roll the damage. So your arrow hits it in the other flank and sends it tumbling sideways because one of its legs is already weakened by the previous 2 injuries. It tumbles sideways and rolls through the undergrowth, coming to a stop flat against that wall there. Let's see, that amount of its eyes flash angrily at you, and it turns to face you and snorts. And with that actually really hurt my sinuses doing that. Okay, with that, that's Alderan's primary action to go. Do you have a minor action you would like to take?
I'll just reload.
Okay, so you reload, ready for next round. Courage, what would you like to do?
I just noticed that it says aim, but it's 0. So do I take it you didn't aim?
I didn't aim, no.
Or that aim didn't work
didn't
because
aim.
it's listed, but it's a 0. Right. Just wondering if it's having the same problem as the focus.
No, it seemed to have switched itself on, but I wasn't using it anyway.
Right. Okay. Okay. So the boar is in a bad state.
The boar's in a very bad state, yes.
Try and finish it off then. So
Okay. There is a bloody great knot in
I was
elbow
gonna say,
between you and it.
yes, there is.
So you will have to move slightly to get a line of attack on it as well. I'm saying.
Right. So I can't. Is it on all fours or is it just hunched over?
Currently it's attacking, so it's on his back paws.
Also, it's huge.
Also, it's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. So. Okay. As in through the trees.
Yes, I'll give you it from there. Yeah, I'll give you it from there.
Okay.
I can hear a lot of mouse clicking, but nothing's happening. Right, okay, something's come up now. Okay, that's 13 to hit with an arcane blast, so your magical energy leaps forwards from your paws and once again slams into the prone boar. Roll the damage. 6 damage. Okay. Yeah, as it's snorting at Alderan, you appear round the back of the Nottingham and blast it in the face, up the side of the face. You can see a lot of the boar hair bristles just burn away under the contact from the arcane energy. It's still in the fight. And it's annoyed. And it's standing up. Because it's now its go. Unless you have a minor action. Oh, you moved, didn't you?
I moved it.
So it will stand up and charge you, but it doesn't get its charge bonus because it had to stand up this round. So thundering over to attack, it will attempt to gore you in the nethers. There we go. And that's a 21 to hit with 5 points of stunts. I'm going to go ahead and say that's a hit. So it's going to take a mighty blow, and it is going to knock you down as well. So now you're knocked prone, and it's going to do a mighty blow, so I'll roll the standard damage and then an extra d6. And it's also going to skirmish you a bit because it's got some more stunt points to burn. So that's total of 14 damage.
Right.
1, 2, 1, 2. You find yourself hit so hard by this charging boar that it gores you. You start bleeding. You crash to the ground, and you go tumbling down the side of the bank towards the river.
Okay.
And currently, we leave that round with you sliding down the river, or sliding down the bank towards the river, I should say. And I've just noticed one of the boar's other things that I need to deal with. Just going to have to move you slightly, Sean, because I keep clicking on you instead of the boar. So that's 4. Okay. And that's that. That's the boar's actions taken. So we move on to Nicholas Marty. What would you like to do?
I'm going to look very indignant at the Northern Owl Bear and go, I don't know who you think you are. And then I'm going to try and water whip it in the face.
Okay.
We're all Devo. Whip it good.
Yeah. If that song gets stuck in my head for the rest of the day, I'm ringing you up every hour on the hour during the night just to keep you awake.
Yeah, that won't work.
No, you'll just turn your phone off. There was a flaw in the plan, granted. Okay, so Nicholas has, I believe that is a hit. It is indeed.
Yeah, I'm going to use my stunts for Mighty Spell to add an extra d6 of damage. Yes?
Okay, yeah.
Right, cool.
Technically, because this is now a weapon that a spell created, it would be a mighty blow, but it would still be an extra d6 damage. It has exactly the same effect.
Okay.
So, extra d6 damage, go ahead and roll. So that's 9 points of damage you've done to the ball. Let's see if I have any more luck.
That's not the ball, that's the...
That's of course, sorry, my mistake. It's the not an owl
giant
bear.
thing attacking Tamara.
Yes. He's quite a nice guy, you know. If you go drinking with him, you'll find that he's quite funny. In fact, you might say he's a hoot. Oh dear. This is from years of hanging out with you. Your humour has infected me. It's your fault. Right, okay, so you smack it across the side of the face. There are fur and feathers flying everywhere as the water actually bites quite deeply into the creature, who has quite a tough hide, but that was quite a solid thunk you gave it. Anyway, what would... first of all, do you have any minor actions you would like to take?
I kind of want to get out of the way, but I also kind of don't want to leave Tamara on her own, so can I stand firm?
Yes, you can stand firm. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
Tamara to go.
Good tactic.
Okay. Minor action to switch to the giant killer sword.
Right, you are.
Sword.
She drops her bow and unsheathes the giant killer longsword. Shing! And with one solid movement, with one fluid movement, as she's drawing it, she draws the blade across the bear. The not an owl bear. That's a definite hit with 6 points of stunts.
Divine intervention. Sorry, wrong character.
Wrong character. Clerics only.
Yep. Lethal in a skirmish, I think.
Really?
Yes, you can lethal it and skirmish it. Okay, so would you like to ping where you'd like to knock it back to? Or are you moving yourself?
No, I think we need to move it away from the rest of us.
Okay,
So
ping
if
to
I
where you're
can-
going to move it.
if I can fling it over that away.
Okay.
Yeah.
You fling it over that away to get it away from the
Yeah.
bulk of the party and the more vulnerable members, because Tamara, obviously one of the harder ones to hurt. And that's 10 damage.
That's the extra damage,
That's the extra damage.
which I've done first for some reason,
That's okay, it doesn't matter which order. Go ahead.
and that's the standard damage.
So 9 in total. That's, let me just think this through.
It's not a giant, is it?
Sorry, 19 in total. No, it's not a giant, unfortunately. So if I take that off there, that'll be right. Okay, that's 15 comes off its hit points. That's quite a severe blow. So she's drawn her sword, just stepped towards the creature and drawn the sword in a fluid movement. She brings the blade across its body and just keeps pressing forward. Remarkably, Nicholas Marty is actually the only person to see this, but remarkably, the force of her advance seems to have driven this massive creature backwards. And now she's just
Frantically scribbling that down.
yeah. Now she's just like yelling in its face. Ah! This is like a complete turnaround because what you would expect would be a creature this size to be driving her back and snarling at her. Actually, the not an owlbear is almost as surprised as she is. However, it is going to counter-attack. Regaining its balance somewhat, it comes thundering forward and tries to attack her. Let's have a look.
It's one of those northeast owl bears, and it's going, who now?
Who
Stop
are you?
that.
What are you doing? So it's going to attempt to claw at her again. It can't aim because it's moved. It hasn't moved far enough to charge. So 16, is that a hit?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's a hit. Okay. So, angered now by having been embarrassed by this small, flimsy human woman, it slashes towards her head. She brings her shield up as quickly as she can and doesn't manage to deflect it properly. She manages to deflect the blow slightly, so it catches her across the side of the face, not as heavily as it might otherwise have done. It has, however, still done 15 points of damage.
Ouch.
And without magical healing, that is definitely going to scar. Okay, so that's the beastie done for the round. Moving on, it is combat round 3, and it's Alderaan to act. What would he like to do?
This point, right, okay. Well, I'm going to jump step on the boar and flip over acrobatically into this space over here.
Okay, yeah, I'm just going
And
to
whilst
allow
I'm in the air upside down, shoot the boar.
Okay.
Just for dramatic, that's just the dramatic thing, but I'm moving over there.
Yeah, no, I'm going to allow that
Shoot.
because it's quite cool. I like the sound of that. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's like basically he jumps,
Yeah.
steps onto the boar and flips in the air, draws the arrow and shoots at it as he spins over.
Yeah, imagining for a second he's in some kind of martial arts movement. Movie.
all in slow-mo bullet time.
Yeah, Alderaan steps on the very surprised boar's snout, somersaults in the air, and as he goes over the top, knocks an arrow and thunk, poof, hits it, presumably. Let's hope we do. It's going to spoil things if we don't. In the back and lands neatly in cover behind it. 13, that is actually a hit. Roll the damage. That is 15 points of damage, and it has actually... boom. Right, okay. Two things happen. The first is the arrow sinks into the back of its neck and separates two fairly important spinal joints from one another. The proper name will come back to me in a moment.
Vertebrae.
Vertebrae, thank you. Killing it instantly. And then, as you do, this strange, green, ghostly entity emerges from the top of the now dead boar and turning at you cackles. We shall meet again. And through the air, off into the distance. That came as a bit of a surprise. What's more of a surprise is that the boar corpse now instantly rots, decaying away as if it's been dead for weeks.
I think that was the master.
It could very well be. And that would be... Alderaan has now killed the boar, so it's Courage to go.
And it was green, you say?
Yes. Green, slightly opaque. You could see a lot through it, but it was definitely visible enough that you could make out its appearance. It was not your friend, Callum.
No, but it does strike me as like some sort of corrupted inverse beast magic or druid craft.
Yeah. It really does.
Casting lesser beast form.
Casting lesser beast form, right you are. You summon the power of your own beast magic and it surges through you, this sense of rage at the same time that this valley seems to be corrupting the very nature of beast magic. Which beast form would you like to turn into? And feel free to flip your token. And you are turning into a buffalo again, yeah, bison.
Yep.
Okay, let me just extend its size. There you go.
Thank you.
So, that's a major action, I think, beast form?
It is.
Okay.
It is, yes.
Do you have a minor action you would like to take?
Stand up.
That's a point. Does changing into a beast maintain your posture?
Yes.
Right, in which case, yes, stand up.
Well, I mean, it retains your posture to a point. If you're turning from a biped to a quadruped, obviously you would.
Yeah.
But yes, if you are prone, you will still be prone. So your muscles begin to ripple, your fur begins to fade away, your entire body extends as you turn into this massive bison and stand up, stomping with your front hooves angrily. Thump, thump. And with that, it is Nicholas Marty to go.
Right, I just gonna try another water whip at the not an owl bear.
Okay.
I've stunned it again.
You have indeed. 3
Decent
points
on the
of stun.
stunts today.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna believe any of this when I tell it at the next time.
But there's a video.
Yeah, I was going to say, just get them to have a look at it on Twitch.
So you say I should be using combat stunts
Yes.
with this now?
You
It's
should,
right. Okay. Ooh, that actually opens up quite a lot. Ooh, can I use a lightning? Oh no, that would need. Oh, hang on. No, I can make that on the same enemy. Yeah.
Yeah, lightning attacks, 3
Lightning
points.
attack, yeah.
Okay, cool. I will.
However,
Yeah.
that would only... You've got a chance of missing, though,
Okay.
right? But it would allow you to add your willpower damage again if you hit. Whereas if you did a mighty blow
It wouldn't.
for 2 points, it would add just a d6 damage.
Oh, that's a good point.
So,
So,
swings and roundabouts. So which do you...
On
which
the
would you
chance of
prefer?
missing,
Yeah, I might do the mighty blow actually and skirmish back one.
Okay.
well, 2 squares, you can knock
2
back 2
squares for
squares.
1 point, yep. So you drive it back, cracking the whip in front of its face, and then smack the thing full in the eye as well. Roll the damage.
Sorry, I've lost the dice roller. There it
That's
is.
okay. That is a 12. So 8. 8 will get through its hide. So it's bellowing in rage and anger now, this strange sort of cross between a roar and a hoot. And its front arms are flailing about angrily as it's, as it's angry, I suppose. I don't know. Tamara to go next. What would you like to do?
Charge.
Okie dokie. It's less than 4 meters, so she won't get a bonus to hit, but
Oh.
Okay.
it will still allow you to make an attack and move in one action.
Okay. A charge has to be a minimum of.
To get a bonus to hit, a charge has to be a minimum of 4 meters.
Right.
Is that up a height there rather than along the bottom?
Yes, that would put you up the cliff.
You need to be along the bottom.
Yeah, so you
Yeah,
need
there.
to be
All
there.
right.
Yeah.
The owlbear is kind of out of position.
It is slightly, yeah. I'll just
No worries.
because it's snapping, I will just stick my finger on the Alt and move it again. There you go. Okay, so make your attack.
So I've moved so I can't aim.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you come rushing in and slash with the tip of the blade at the not an owlbear and hit it right under the chin. Roll the damage. There you go, it snapped again. Every time I click on it. 8 points of damage. So it's not a particularly solid thump this time, but it's still enough to draw some blood and send feathers flying as well. So it's the not an owlbear to act next, and it's going to claw you back. Well, it's going to claw your front, but you know what I mean. And it will aim because it doesn't need its other action, and it's missed, which is a shame because it would have generated stunts. But it's clawing wildly, and Tamara's just parrying with the sword and then up with the shield, and its claws are just sort of gouging into the shield, but doing it no good at all. Okay, it is the next round, but I am going to need to take a brief comfort break to visit the bathroom. So if you just give me a minute, I'll put the sound on pause, and I'll be back in, well, 2 minutes tops. For that, I am now back. Just give me a second to open your Fox channels. There you go. Okay, so it is combat round 4, and it's Alderan to go. What would you like to do?
Well, I'm going to move through the trees.
Yep.
To here.
Working
Can I
your
knock
way-
an arrow and move at the same time?
Technically, rules is written, no, but I think I'm going to allow it because in
Oh, but
reality, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's. Well, I could always stay where I am. I'm presuming I can shoot under the trees.
I'm going to allow it because in reality, I've certainly knocked arrows while on the move. So,
Although no, you shouldn't allow it because there's actually a game mechanic for it.
good point. So there is. So I won't. Yes, go ahead.
Right, so I'll shoot from there if I can shoot from there at the owlbear.
You can. That will count as cover, though, so it does make it slightly harder to hit. Not that I foresee that being a problem for somebody as good a shot as you, but let's just see.
And its dex is less than 5.
Its dex is less than 5, yes.
Right, so 14, would that hit him?
14 would hit, yes.
Okay. So that's the damage.
Okay, so this arrow comes out of nowhere as far as the Not an Owlbear is concerned and thumps into its flank. It barely seems to notice, although the injury is quite severe, it's its sense of rage and concentration and adrenaline that means that it doesn't consciously notice, but it has been severely injured by that wound. You don't think, from the number of wounds it's got now and from the way it's staggering slightly and its attacks are becoming less coordinated, you don't think it's got much left in it, to be entirely honest. And Courage, what would you like to do?
Right. Can I charge from where I'm at, or am I? So I'm not obstructed by the trees, the undergrowth, and Tamara. I can draw a straight line.
The first set of undergrowth, you're large enough you'll just trample through it.
Yep.
The second set, you can just narrowly avoid the trunk and Tamara as well. Yes.
I would put you into that square there, and it is 5 meters. So.
Yeah.
So that counts as a charge with the bonus.
It does, yes. So that's +1 to hit.
Boom.
So, thump! You come thundering up the side of the riverbank, across the hill, and through the undergrowth. Your horns lowered and thump into the side, hopefully, of the Not an Owlbear. Make an attack roll.
+1 to attack because it's a charge, yeah?
That's correct, yes. 15, that's a hit. Go ahead and roll the damage.
Oh my god.
Worst possible roll you could have got for damage there, unfortunately. However, you still do manage to gore it slightly, and the impact has caused it a bit of consternation, but nothing too much. Some damage got through. Okay, that's Nicholas to go next. What would you like to do, Louise?
I'm going to have to move forward a little bit.
Yeah.
If I stop here, can I get damage around Tamara?
You've got both Courage in his bison form and Tamara there now, so you're using a whip though, aren't you? So yes, you can. Yeah, no, you can. You whip over the top.
I will do that then.
Is that similar to a polearm in effect, in the effect of reaching around people with it?
Pretty much, yeah. Okay, that is a hit. Go ahead and roll that damage.
Sweet.
So your water whip cracks over the top of Tamara's head and into the top of the scalp of the Not an Owlbear, doing some damage.
It looks up thinking, where's that rain coming from?
Yes. Again, fur and feathers flying everywhere. The thing's getting more and more angry and enraged the more damage it's taken. Doesn't seem inclined to break off the fight, though, weirdly enough. Tamara to go next. Tamara to go next.
Oh, yeah, I'm here. I was just thinking... We now outnumber this Not an Owlbear, don't we?
You do. There are 2 people in hand-to-hand 3 people in hand-to-hand combat with it. So that means you should all be getting +2 to hit, really, yes.
Oh, right. Okay, let's have another attempt with the giant claw longsword. Taking aim.
Right, yeah.
So that's a +3.
That's +3 she'll get to hit this round then, yes. That's an easy hit. So she takes careful aim at the creature, and as it's distracted by the strike on the top of its head, it looks up slightly and she thrusts forward into its chest. Roll the damage. 9 points of damage. That's not bad. She thrusts into its chest quite deeply. The creature screeches in pain as she plunges the sword in and pulls it out. Blood splashes from the end of the blade. This thing's in a severely bad way now. Its breathing is laboured and everything. However, it's going to continue its fight, never once thinking of conceding. It is going to probably going to attack the Socking Great Bison that's just come out of nowhere this time, I would think. So, one attack against the Socking Great Bison. 18 to hit.
Yes, that's very much getting through his defence.
Right, you are. The creature claws across the front of the bison's shoulders. 10 points of damage.
Okay. Reduced by his armour of 2.
And that's combat round 5 starting now with Alderan to go.
I'm going to do something. I'm going to move through here and hack at it with the short sword.
Right, you are. You come rushing through the trees, stowing your bow as you go and drawing the short sword. You slash down at the creature's rear flanks. Roll to hit. That's a hit.
Obviously, it would get the plus for attacking from multiple people.
You would, yes.
He still rolls 15 with a short sword.
And 15 points of damage. So, describe how this creature meets its end at your hands.
Well, as it's actually engaged with everybody else, I'm going to basically use my short sword in a reverse hand grip, as it were, and slash across its guts underneath. Basically, I'm not going to do a sort of like slide underneath it and as I go hack it apart.
Yeah, in case it falls on you.
Not
Yeah.
quite. Because it collapses on top of us because there's nowhere on the far side to come out. But yeah.
That would be funny. Slide under the creature, slashing its belly open as you go, face plant into the cliffside, get crushed to death by falling Albert.
But that type of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna.
So instead, you slash underneath and upwards. The creature is disemboweled by the shot. It bellows suddenly. You're expecting long, agonized thrashings of pain as it dies, but actually it goes out pretty quickly because it's so badly damaged from all the other wounds that it just collapses with such force that there's dust and small stones bounce off the ground. There's fallen leaves come up. There's leaves from the trees start falling off with the force of this massive creature just suddenly collapsing to the ground with a thump and a bang. And suddenly the battle appears to have ended.
Right. Okay. First things first. I'm going to attempt to recover arrows from the corpses.
Okay, you are going to attempt to recover the arrows. How many did you fire?
6.
Okay, roll a d6 to see how many of them are still in decent condition.
It's 5 back. I'm not so much worried about the heads. It's the shafts. Which
Yes.
Are important.
Yeah. Okay, you managed to retrieve 5 of the arrows that you fired. The 6th of which is broken off when one of the creatures you shot fell. It snapped it. But you're actually pretty pleased that you managed to recover 5 points. Now then, you are all standing in the shadow of the Skull of Fear amongst these dead creatures, and this sense of something very, very wrong here, having seen that green ghostly figure emerging from the dead corrupted boar. Could I have another willpower? You can use courage, or you can use what did I say? It was self control.
Self-discipline or courage.
Self-discipline, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
That was the word that was just slipping through my brain. Or what, for want of a better word, I suppose I'll call my brain.
Do I automatically revert back to my standard form?
Does it say that it only lasts till the end of the encounter?
I believe that is the way it's written. Yes.
In that case, yes, you will do. Depends exactly how I interpret encounter, actually, because are you encountering the creatures or are you encountering the Skull of Fear? So actually, I'm going to allow you to stay in bison form, because the Skull of Fear segment is the encounter. Really,
Okay.
so.
Nicholas Marty's obviously heartened by all of the water whipping.
Yes. Yeah. So, did anybody score under? Let me just have a quick look. 12.
No, I scored 12.
Haven't rolled yet. Hang on. I needed to work out which willpower I was supposed to be using. If it's mine or if it's the bison's.
Very good point. Yes, yours, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
physical
Yes,
stats you use for
intelligence and willpower both are retained from the host character.
as much, yeah.
Tamara didn't.
Tamara didn't? Okay. Tamara is, despite how well she performed during the fight, the wave of fear coming off the skull, she just can't bring it. Oh, wait a minute, I did say she would get a bonus, didn't I?
It's a bonus from Nicholas.
Still not going to be enough, though. So
Okay.
she can't bring herself to get any closer to the skull than she is now.
Okay.
I would suggest we take a breather at this point.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. If you all want to take a breather, you may recover 5 health plus your constitution plus your level. As you take a brief sit, probably against the side of the cliff, a bit of a rest, you're sort of bending over, gasping for air. Some of you are taking swigs of water, mopping yourselves down a bit. So yeah, you can recover those health points, and that would actually give those who failed, which is in this case just Tamara, an opportunity for a second attempt. If she fails this one, though, that's...
This is an interesting rules thing. If you're allowing me to maintain form, taking a breather in this form would give me a +5 from my constitution.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to go ahead and make Tamara's second willpower roll as well?
Yeah, sure.
Need it.
Yeah, she made it the second time. After having taken that breather, it steadied her nerves. Quick conversation with Nicholas, perhaps, and
Just owlbear jokes.
yes, just not an owlbear jokes. Yes. Sure,
Yeah,
so-
you mentioned he was good on a night out. It's a fact. He was a real hit with the ladies. He had the wit to woo.
Oh,
Oh dear. Oh, okay, so after your breather, you're all feeling a little bit better. You still have cuts and bruises from some of you. Still have cuts and bruises.
Up to Tamara's health, back for the breather.
Brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. And this,
if she really needs any more, I can always give it a go with my healing spell if she needs it.
She's 7 down at the moment from max.
you can see the wound to her face that would have scarred. You can see it is now currently a slightly angry red scar. But you feel that natural healing taken over from here now. I mean, she'll not be permanently scarred by the impact.
Oh, could we? Could somebody actually perform first aid on her?
Yes, you can.
Well, you could do that
Okay.
first. Do that
Not
first.
in bison form.
Not in
Okay.
bison form you can't, but anybody else can. So you need an intelligence test.
TN11.
TN11. Yeah, and if you pass, it is the stunt dice plus your intelligence that they get back.
So it's just an intelligence roll, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, cool.
It's not one that requires the focus in this case.
No, it's not.
No, that was a fail.
That was a fail, unfortunately.
Can I have a go?
Yes, you can have a go.
Not that I'm much better.
Yeah, so Nicholas Marty's trying to figure out how to bandage Tamara's face without blinding her in one eye temporarily. When Aldrin comes along and says, "Here, like this," and then sort of binds it round in a complicated
Nicholas
shape. Sorry?
Nicholas did that thing where, you know, like when kids are playing hospital and just sort of wrap someone's entire head in loo roll.
Yes, I.
Bandages like this? No.
Yeah. Aldrin, on the other
Yeah.
hand, has spotted a better way of dressing it and manages to do that stem. Well, there's not much bleeding left from it, but manages to heal that and the wound in her abdomen as well. He manages to stop the bleeding there. She gets 5 hit points back.
Which I've
Damn.
done.
Which you
Damn
do.
it, Tamara. I'm a bard, not a surgeon.
Oh, God. Okay, so what would everybody like to do now?
Count up the treasure.
Sadly, there was no treasure.
Right.
Where the owlbear on the
I'm going to
bison.
communicate as a bison. So
Okay.
let's see.
Stomp, stomp, moo.
Strangely enough, you notice that Kurge seems to be cleaning dishes because it turns out he's a washing up bison.
Oh.
Oh God, and now that's on the recording. My terrible attempt at humour. Right, okay, so...
That joke's going viral.
yes.
I think Kurge is trying to tell us there's a child trapped in a well.
Well, he's currently pawing at or hoofing, I suppose, at the
evil
decaying
rodder.
remnants of the boar, and he's snorting.
Okay. How many syllables?
You can understand what they're saying, you just can't speak, so you can answer yes or no questions, and things like how many.
I'm just electing not to because I don't like them.
Moo once for yes and twice for no.
So something about this boar.
Okay, so we're just waiting for Patrick to type whatever. Kurge the bison is attempting to shakes his head, so hooves at the wolf and shakes his head. Sorry.
So the boar was possessed, but the wolf wasn't by the evil
Green guy.
magic user.
Yes, that's right. And the not an owlbear was also not possessed.
So neither the owlbear or the not an owlbear and the wolf, neither of those are decaying at the same rate.
No, they're not.
They're just dead.
They're just dead. Yeah. They will decay in normal time, in natural process.
Right. I can still see. I still have my mage's mind. I'm going to look at the boar and see if there's any kind of inscriptions, any kind of enchantments, any kind of trinkets at all on this creature.
There isn't. In fact, the noticeable thing that's missing is anything other than the skin of the boar. There's not actually a boar there. There's just the decaying hide of one.
So there's no bones.
There's no bones, there's no flesh, there's no organs. It's literally just the skin of the boar, as if an expert hunter had skinned it.
And then rode the skin.
Yes. And then worn the skin.
Creepy.
Ew, that's creepy.
Yeah. That is
So holes where the eyes should be.
Yes, holes where the eyes should be. The whole thing, it's been cut originally neatly right down the length of the underside, and then the head has been placed over something's head, and then the rest of it wrapped round it. The result of which was he essentially became the boar until such time as you killed it, in inverted commas.
Having looked through the eyes of that skull previously and seen things, I'd like to look through the eyes of this skin and see if that does anything mystical.
Okay. You place the rotting skin of the boar over your... Actually, you're probably not going to be able to do that with hooves.
Just trying to shove my head into it.
Okay, as best you can, you kind of shove your head into the rotting remnants of this. Everybody else is over in the corner being sick at this point.
Everybody's going.
Yes. Nothing. You don't see anything. Don't see anything at all.
Your druid's a little bit weird. Just
Little bit weird.
So yes,
Seems so.
that you don't see anything unusual. Whatever power fused that ghostly thing to this boar hide, you don't have it, so it's
Okay.
having no effect on you.
So shaking that off and just going to look in the bushes where they came from. Is there anything of significance in there?
Okay, make me a perception roll. You may either use the searching or tracking focuses. Focuses.
Now, this is where things change a little bit because I'm using the physical abilities of a bison. If I go sniffing around, I do have smelling.
Yes, you can use that as well.
Okay.
Snorting.
Isn't perception one of the ones that you use from your original form, though?
No, I don't believe it is because it's physical because it's the it's the body of the bison that you're making use of.
Okay.
The only ones that you retain are intelligence
and
and
willpower.
willpower,
Yeah.
including their focuses.
Okay, yes, in that case you'll be using the bison's focus, so it'll have to be perception smelling.
Oh, hang on. You gain the beast's perception and health, or retain your own if they are higher.
Ah, right, okay.
That's further down the spell. Right. In that case, so this is GM's call at this point. Would you say that I either use perception 1, which is for a bison, 1 plus smelling, or I can use my own plus seeing, or can I combine the two?
No, it would have to be one or the other, and if your own perception's higher, then that's the one you'll be using.
That's what I thought. So yeah, I'll just go with my own perception, and I'll do seeing just to have a route around.
Okay. What you find in the undergrowth is a lot of trampled area, as if those things had been waiting to ambush you for a while. It's almost like they knew you were coming. It's not like they just spotted you like 50, 60 metres out and then took cover. They've been there all night, you think.
Plus, also, normal animals run away from this area.
Yeah, normal animals run away from this area. Normal animals run away when they're badly injured or attacked by fire, none of which these ones did.
I knew that torch would come in handy.
Yeah. Okay, so Curge buffalo form is now bellowing.
Right, so I'll go and have a look in the bushes, see if I can see anything. Is that the
plan? You can make a perception tracking roll or perception searching roll.
I don't have either of those, I only have seeing.
You can make perception seeing roll, I'll just slightly alter what you might find.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really notice anything untoward.
Yeah, it looks like a bison's trampled all over this.
Yes. Indeed so. So, what's everybody doing now?
Should we proceed on to the Lake of Fear?
Skull of Fear.
Skull of Fear.
Oh, sorry, no, I was doing 1980s songs. Is it down to the Lake of Fear?
Yeah, I think we should. I just need to vanish just for a second though, but I'll be back in a sec.
Okay. What you find then is that the skull is placed up on the first plateau of the cliffside, so there will be a little bit of climbing. It won't be high. It's only about sort of 4 or 5 meters. That's the low point that you're pinging there. Yeah. Most of you will be able to make it up, scramble up there without any recourse to a climbing roll, but the bison won't be able to make it up in bison form. So Kurt's going to have to turn back into beast folk form.
So I can't get up to that skull at all in my current form?
No, you can't.
Right.
Not unless they spend a lot of time constructing some kind of large pulley system.
Well, we get a dead wolf and a dead owl bear, and we prop them up against the cliff face.
I'm going to just do a quick once round and see if there's anything else that...
Just in case there's anything around the corner that's been lurking, watching you. Or...
Yeah, anything else that needs a bison charging into it, basically.
Yes. Okay, you do a quick scout around the edge. Everything's quiet now. There are no signs of other hostiles lurking in the undergrowth at all. You feel fairly confident and safe to turn back into your natural bear man form.
Bison do enjoy being in water, don't they?
I believe so.
I'm in this form rather a lot.
Yes, you are. Okay.
Splash, splash.
Okay, so you're splashing around in the water while everybody else is clambering up onto the top. I take it you're then going to once you've cleaned yourself off from all the remnants of the dead boar and other things you had to go, you'll head up onto... I just need to see if we need another fear test or not.
And back. Have I missed any rolls? No.
No, but I missed something. You should have been taking a courage test every round to make an attack during that combat. That's my error.
Wow.
Wouldn't care. I wrote that down myself. Still didn't notice.
Okay.
I could have just kept my mouth shut. Nobody would have been any the wiser.
Well, we all passed, right? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I just assume you all passed. And so I'm just going to double check this. Yes, you're all fine. Okay, nobody cast any of them, so it doesn't matter about that. Right. Okay, so making it up onto the side, you see that there are two obvious entrances to the skull on this plateau. The first is the same way as you entered the first skull, which is behind the mandible here. The second is on the opposite side, where that sword wound's cleft straight through the side of the skull. You can actually, from sort of here, you can see straight through the mandible and out the wound on the other side. So you can enter here or you can move around. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to move you all over to the next map.
If you could de-embiggen me, please.
If I could de-embiggen you first. Right, hold on a second, I'll do that. In fact, what I'll do is I'll move you all into a little group so it's easier for me to copy and paste you over. Then reduce courage.
Take it a Raven's not going to come in.
Yeah, he'll come in.
He's a familiar. So.
He's a familiar now, yeah. Okay, so there we go. And copy. And I will just move you over to the next map. Skull of Fear, lower. Paste. There you go. So you've now all should be able to see the map for the Skull of Fear. You see the bit underneath the skull is resting almost directly on the stone. I've actually set you in a bit far north there, so I'll just move you down to here. There you go. There's still this pulse of ominous fear travelling through you every few seconds. The whole place just creeps you out. It makes you feel really nervous, and it's a deeply oppressive and unpleasant sensation. You also notice that inside the skull there seems to be an awful lot of weed growth.
Druids and weed? Well, I never.
Do I recognise what kind of weed it is?
Yes, probably. I don't think I'm going to need a roll for that as you're a druid, so I'm going to say yes, you do. It's a combination of different weeds. There's a lot of things like vines. There are vines hanging down from the top of the skull. There are dandelions and stinging nettles coming up from the ground. If I said shabby wedding, would you know what I meant?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of a plant where the seeds are on the external stem and you can just pull them off, get a handful of them, and hence the term. People used to throw them at each other like it was confetti at a wedding. So it's a wide variety. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a plant that got a lot more common in the UK after railways became a thing because the fast movement of the trains helped spread the seeds.
It did, yes. Do you know,
Which is a weird fact, I know. Sorry, that's completely irrelevant.
I do have an adjacent fact to that, is that most railways are covered in tomato plants as well.
Certainly
From
the
people
old
throwing
ones.
them out the windows, yeah.
No, not from throwing them at the windows.
Old trains didn't used to have a septic tank on board, so they just used to disgorge the sewage onto the line.
Wow.
So not only would people eat tomatoes and then pass the seeds, but they'd fertilise them at the same time.
Yep.
Sorry, Patrick, I kind of took over that one for you. Should have let
Not
you
at
talk.
all.
But,
It confirmed it as a story that's well known and understood. It's a form of corroboration.
Right. So basically, I wanted to recover my torch as well. That I threw.
Okay, yes, I'm going to allow that. It more or less went out in the undergrowth because the undergrowth was damp enough that it wasn't going to catch fire. I'm going to say it's still warm and there's embers, so it won't take much to get it relit. So with that in mind, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so see what I'm doing. I've been
Is
avoiding
inside
doing
that
that.
school well lit?
Well, not exactly, but there is a lot of light coming in through the wound.
Yeah.
So parts of it are well lit, but not the whole thing. Alderon, I'm just going to add sheds light to your...
Yeah, because I'm going to light it up again.
and we are going to
Might as well,
add-
because if it's that good a throwing weapon.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Do you want some reconnaissance here? Because I could turn into a bat and head in there and find out what's inside.
If you feel that's a good idea, I might be
Try not to get captured as dinner this time.
Yeah,
shot.
I didn't get captured last time.
You didn't, you just got shot out of the air.
Yeah,
I did.
would it not be easier on your magic points to have Koth do a bit of recon?
Well, I don't like to ask Quoth to do things that I could do myself. I don't like to put on him.
When Nicholas suggests sending Quoth in, it kind of he squawks in this alarmed manner and flaps his wings. When Kurge says I don't like to ask Quoth to do things that I'm not willing to do myself, he settles down a bit and alights on Kurge's shoulder. You can't help feeling it, considering how sarcastic Quoth was in the beginning. He definitely seems to have taken a bit of a liking to Kurge as time has worn on. He's much less... Although that might be the time he got told off by the albino raven from Dahlia the White. So, yes, you can, if you want to, do another beast shape and go into bat form, or Quoth will actually do it, but he'll come straight back out if he sees anything that alarms him.
Or I could just stealth over to the entrance and have a peek in.
Or you could stealth over to the entrance and have a
Okay.
peek.
Whilst carrying this torch.
Let's have that one.
Okay, make a stealth roll then. Since you're carrying a torch, I'm going to say it -1.
Well, actually, I'm going to hand that to Tamara.
Okay, then you don't take the -1. You hand the torch to Tamara, she takes it in a shield hand, because her shield is strapped to her arm rather than held in her hand, so she can hold the torch and the shield at the same time.
Let's make a dexterity roll for stealth.
Yep.
14.
Okay.
Do we think that's good enough?
You seem to be very quiet.
Or do you think I should roll it again? What do you reckon?
It's up to you.
Get a worse roll. No, I'll go with 14.
Okay.
It's one of my talents is
Yes. Yeah.
reroll stealth.
Yeah.
So I'll sneak over to here
Okay.
and have a peek in through there.
Okay, peeking in through there, what you notice is the inside of the skull is quite heavily chocker with these weeds, and there's a lot of vines trailing down from above as well. You notice a structure in the centre, which is a flight of spiral stairs that's roughly equivalent in the position to where the spinal column would enter the bottom of the skull, and they seem to spiral upwards into the skull itself, the upper section of the skull where the brain would normally sit. Could you give me a perception seeing roll, please?
Oh yeah, I'm good at that.
Okay. You also notice some of the vines in there look just a little bit suspicious to you. You remember you saw some moving vines strangling prey animals. You can see, let me just check which ones you can actually see from there. Okay, yeah. You can see one here. One here closer to the stairs, and one over here as well. So in amongst the normal creepers, you can see these strangle vines, or these hanging vines, I should say. Not strangle vines, TM, hanging vines.
Yeah, would it be worthwhile throwing something into the bushes to see if there's any reaction?
Has anybody played Half-Life?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. One of my favourite games.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's everyone doing?
Well, I'm going to go back and report what I've seen.
Okay.
I'll wait until you get back.
So there's a lot of suspicious-looking vines and a spiral staircase in the middle where the spine would be.
Okay, so Alderon's returned and reported that information to the rest of you. What would you like to do?
And we've all seen the vines eating animals, yeah?
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a lot of dead animal meat that we've just created down at the bottom of the rock formation in the woods. If we were to feed these vines...
You mean get a hold of that and throw some of it in there?
Yeah.
Or put it on a stick and wiggle it around?
Guys,
Yeah,
I'm just going to take another quick bathroom break. I'm going to leave your mics open so they're still going through to the recording, so you can continue to discuss your plan till I get back. I'll not be a moment.
That would seem like an idea.
If we just feed them to the point that they're full and don't want anything further to eat.
Or they may. What do you mean? Like as soon as you it's like a Venus flytrap. As soon as you trigger it, it closes and it takes a while.
Could be that too, yes.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. Maybe we should be making a nature law check of some description to see whether or not we recognise that type of thing and how it behaves.
Yes.
You also do have the speak with plants, don't you not?
Oh, I certainly do. Yes, I'm just I'm not overly keen of talking to them.
Okay.
You know, sort of useful plants tend to be sarcastic and rude. Actually, violent carnivorous plants. Can you imagine what they would say? Oh, in fact, we don't have to imagine. We had those mushrooms that time.
The shriekers. And
the violet ones as well.
Yeah. The purple meanies or whoever they were.
Yeah, they were very rude and aggressive, and just came towards us like fungus chavs.
Fungus chaps. Yeah. Okay. So what's the plan? Yeah, I was thinking while I was over there throwing something in would be a good idea. See if it has any effect. But I like the idea of, I was thinking, oh, maybe I should reach into the rations and throw something. But
rather than it be something that would sustain us, we've created a whole lot of cold cuts down there.
Yeah,
Might as
I
well
like that
use
plan
them.
better.
There's that, or we could just set fire to the whole lot of it.
Yeah, there's then smoke
Yeah.
in a bird raging inferno underneath something which we could be cooking upstairs.
Mm-hmm. It would soon come out.
But what if it's not something that's nasty?
Regardless of whether it was nasty or not, it would still come out.
No. But let's say your friend is actually tied up in a cage inside said cavity above, and you've just smoked him.
Let's just clarify with Brian. Is this guy actually a friend of mine or a rival?
He's not a rival, no.
All right.
An acquaintance.
Someone you knew.
Yeah, an acquaintance from your past.
Well,
You're both members of the Buffalo Lodge.
best and least destructive idea up to now. feed the vines.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to those corpses.
Yep.
Do a bit of
Butchery.
butchery is actually the correct term.
It is, yeah.
What's our nearest in-universe holiday coming up?
Okay, I don't know the answer to that question. I'll have to go looking that one up.
Because I wanted to sing a tune along with this that goes, feed the vines, let them know it's whatever festival it is, you know?
It's feeding time again.
Okay, I'm so glad I asked.
But does the feeding only last 6
I've
seconds?
had the better part of 20 years of these jokes, you know.
Vines.
You haven't known me that long.
It feels like it.
It's only half of that.
Is it only half of that? God, it feels like such a long time.
But should they not be TikToks these days rather than Vines?
Oh, I miss Vine.
Okay, so yes, you quickly butcher the animals that you killed in the battle earlier, in order to create some raw steaks, essentially, for the vines. All the while with Nicholas Marty in the background singing along. Just as a question, are you using your magical flute or are you using your hurdy-gurdy?
That's charisma. Yeah, let's use the flute.
You going to use the flute?
Yeah.
I do
I
apologise.
can actually play a tune.
Go on then.
Hold on.
I do apologise to the listeners about this. I should have known better. She did actually go out and buy her...
I hope we're still in tune here. It was a while since I tuned it.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I do apologise, Lewis.
Thank you.
I will get this.
Is that coming through?
It is coming through, yes.
Hey! Oh shit, no, that didn't work. That was too fast. Ah, nervous.
Rolled a 111.
That sounded nothing like the song I was singing. Yay, thank
It's just
you.
occurred to me you
Sounded
couldn't sing and play a
painful.
flute at the same time, actually. But
Actually, technically, isn't there like a minor arcana that's like mage voice or something that would have like an independent voice?
there might be. I'll take a look later and find
I
out for
remember
future reference.
I remember looking at it and thinking, ooh.
Yeah. Okay, so essentially you've now carved up enough of these steaks. You hope, certainly, that you can feed the vines, if you would like to. So, shall we take it that each of you is carrying, I don't know, 2? Sound about right?
Yep.
Reasonable, yeah.
Yeah. Okie dokie. So, what now?
Over to the door.
Yep.
Okay. You make your way towards the door and peer around inside. You can see that the sun is streaming in from the far side now, as the sun's still on that side of the valley. So it's streaming in through the wound. You will literally be able to see that on the map. If you look very closely, you'll notice that the sunbeams are animated.
Whip me.
And inside you can now all see exactly what Alderaan told you about earlier, which is the large amount of weeds that are either growing up from the ground or down from the ceiling and hanging as vines. And yes, I see you've all spotted the hanging vines. You notice the wound on the far side that's almost opposite the gap behind the mandible is cluttered with a lot of debris, shards of bone, where the wound has been created. They're also petrified, so it still doesn't clear up for certain that question of whether these were originally petrified skulls or whether they were originally carved stone. But you're still pretty much leaning towards petrified skulls. Sorry, go ahead.
Is there any evidence of healing around that wound, i.e., regrowing bone growth?
Okay. Make an intelligence healing test, and I'll tell you. 13 with 4 points of stunts. There is. Sorry, no, there wouldn't be, would it? No, there wouldn't be, because if that was a genuine wound, it's gone straight through the side of the skull from just above the eye orbit, straight through the eye, down into the lower mandible. So there wouldn't be any signs of healing anyway, because it would have been a fatal blow.
Right. Okay.
But having said that, you can now see the inside edges of, the skull wall, and it just further convinces you that what you're seeing is petrified bone.
So was the wound done while the creature was alive, or is it damage that's been done to a petrified skull after the fact?
It's very difficult to tell because there was no healing around it, because it would have been a fatal blow if it was alive when it took it. Your immediate sensation, given that you got 4 points of stunts, I will say your immediate sense is that it was created while the creature was still alive.
Okay.
And it was probably why the creature stopped being still alive.
Yes.
Also, you're pretty sure it was done with some kind of bladed weapon, so whatever hit it must have been equally the size of the creature.
This is like some sort of trophy area, isn't it?
You might think that. I couldn't possibly comment.
Some other titan or god, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. That's the worrying sense you're getting, certainly.
Not sure I've got enough spells to be dealing with gods just yet.
Right, let's throw some meat then.
Okay. Where would you like to fling it?
let's fling some flans into here.
Okay. Tiswell's reference, very good. Make a accuracy thrown weapons roll.
Accuracy thrown. It's only got accuracy. But here we go. Accuracy. Ta-da! 14.
Right. You
Two
throw the stake as far as you can, and it lands just shy of where you were aiming for, like very, very close to it. This vine immediately whips out, grabs the stake, and yanks it up into the air. So yeah, they're definitely hanging vines then.
Right. Are there any more in that area, or is that? Would you say? Do we think that's now safe to pass?
That area is briefly going to be safe to pass, but you don't know for how long. The other ones you can spot are over here, and any others you have actually spotted.
Right. Well, we've brought 2 each.
Yeah.
But there's plenty more down there for us to go back and get.
Yeah.
Right.
I suggest we learn the timings of how long it takes it to eat, digest its food, and become dangerous again.
Right. Is that square there the bottom end of the stairs?
That's actually the top end of the stairs, so the bottom end is tucked underneath it. It's there. Yeah.
So we'd have to.
So you come.
What would be the path? The ideal path, I suppose, would be up here and round there.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. That would mean that these vines, which are over on the here and here, do we think the reach to reach the lower part of the stair or past the stairwell?
Having fought killer plants before, although it wasn't this kind of hanging vine, it was what you euphemistically refer to as the angry tree.
Angry tree.
You remember it had a range of about 30 metres with its vines. So if these hanging vines are anything like it, any one of them could attack you anywhere within the school. However, you don't think the range is quite as large. You think it's probably about half that, but you are only guessing.
Right. So we're just going to sit here and wait for this one to uncoil.
I think so. Yes, just to see how long it takes it to become dangerous again, so that we're not guessing or trying to throw stakes.
Okay.
While we're on the move.
Shake your steak, bake at it.
Okay, it takes less than a minute for the thing to just uncoil and drop what's left of the steak onto the
Oh, that's
ground
not bad.
with a flat thunk. It feels as if I mean, from what you're seeing from here, which is about 2, 4, 5, 6 meters away, the steak looks more desiccated than it was when you lobbed it at the thing.
Has it just taken the blood out of it, or,
Yes,
or
it
the,
looks like. Yeah.
the juices?
Mm.
Yes.
Right.
I think we should get some more then.
How about?
Could we cart the whole corpse up?
What was that, Louis? Sorry.
I said, could we cart the whole corpse up and
Yeah.
put it somewhere sort of central? Like maybe like here?
Throw the whole thing in.
Yeah. And then that'll have all of the vines, presumably, in one place, and we can dip around, maybe?
Okay, 25 points for that idea. Did I give anybody points for the whole steaks idea in the first place?
No, you didn't.
You can have 25 points for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so you bring the corpse of the wolf up because it's the easiest one to manhandle up here. It would probably be quite difficult to get the not an owlbear over here. So you bring the wolf up. It takes about 2 people, possibly 3 as the others help you climb up the side. And once in, you throw it into here. At first, nothing happens, but then you notice these vines creeping out towards the wolf. And before long, there's kind of a feeding frenzy as these vines all grab onto the wolf and start tearing at the body, each trying to lift the corpse up into the air and causing it to stretch outwards as these vines are all pulling in slightly different directions, tearing the corpse apart. What are you going to do?
Run.
Okay. You all make a run for the stairs. So could I have a...
Hang on. Like, Nicholas has said he's going to run. Do we all think this is the best thing to do? Because my idea was to see how long it took
Well, you
for
already know
these,
that.
and to sort of maintain them with a steady flow of food, rather than making a mad dash for it. We dash up there while they've got one corpse. They finish with that while we're up there. We come back. What do we get back with?
We don't come back.
Mm.
I mean, that's
We
a
don't come
distinct
back.
possibility.
We don't come back. What are you saying? We go out of the front of the skull, down the eyes, or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Makes a lot more sense. I've got climbing gear. I don't know if anybody else has.
Well, hang on. Why don't we go into the eyes then?
Because somebody could unhook
Yeah.
the grappling hook.
Yeah, if there's someone up there.
Yeah, you'd be going in blind. Yeah. You don't know there's anybody up there, though. You could always, try that in. But you're going to have to... Sorry, go on.
All right.
Tomorrow's a climber.
Tomorrow is a good climber, yeah.
Do I need to use beast speech to talk to Quoth?
Yes, you will do. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're going to cast that on him and have him look through the eyes?
Well, I'm casting it on me to talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you...
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
just as I was going to say, there's the wound on the far side where the sunlight's streaming in.
Mm-hmm. Which goes up
That
into
goes
the
from
upper
the eye
cavity
socket.
as well, yeah. All the way through the eye socket, through the brain cavity, down to here. Yeah. So there are multiple ways to get up there.
Skillful casting to drop a point off that.
Right, okay. So you quickly cast the spell, and Quoth's sort of squawks and flaps are starting to make a lot more sense to you. Essentially, he's saying, are we just going to sit here and feed these things all day, or are we going to do something?
Well, we shall soon see. Could you go and take a look through the eyes of the skull and then come back and tell me what's in there?
Okay, let me rephrase that. Are we just going to sit here and feed these things all day? Or are you going to send me into a dangerous situation?
Well, a bit of both, but there are some seeds in it for you when you get back.
Better thing might be for him to look through the wound.
Yes, you could do that.
Fly over the top and have a peek in.
Look through the eyes, look through the wound, look through every gap that there is in the skull up there. Looking through the nose, and tell us what you can see.
Okay. With a sort of heavy sigh, he agrees. Okay, I'll go and take a look. What happened to not doing anything you wouldn't do yourself? I'll go take a look, but if I get killed and eaten, I'll be very annoyed about it. And with that, he takes off up into the air. He flies around the full front of the skull and upwards, and then you lose sight and sound from him for a bit, and then what the rest of you hear after about 10-20 seconds is an agitated squawking and flapping, and the sound of a bird flapping its wings extremely hard and flying as quickly as it can. What Courage hears on the other side, on the other hand, is not a squawking you can't interpret. It's "for fuck's sake!" as it comes hurtling out of the eye socket and back round towards you. Go bats, 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 bats.
Lots of bats.
And then there's this massive swarm of bats comes hurtling out of the skull, does a circuit of it, all sort of flapping around menacingly, and then back into the eye on the other eye socket.
Okay, everyone, do we actually want to go up there?
Well, yeah, we promised to help that woman, and she said that it was something from here.
It's a lot of bats.
Yeah.
What are you? Some kind of trendy?
Bats are not normally aggressive.
Not normally.
And obviously the one thing you've noticed about this valley is how normal all the animals are. So what would you all like to do now while Courge hides... while Quoth hides behind Courge and tries to get his breath back? Looking nervously at the sky, expecting these bats to attack him again any moment.
What should we do?
We want a safe way in past the vines, and we want a certain way out.
Yeah.
If we're going to, there's that many potential threats up there. We're talking about fighting a swarm. Is rigging up some sort of grapple and rappelling down going to be any kind of option if we're doing so while under attack from the air?
Yeah, hooking a grapple on is a split-second job.
Yes, and rappelling down while under attack by a swarm of bats.
Less so.
Yeah, but how would the bats distinguish between you and the actual skull as a surface?
Sorry, say that again, Sean?
They'd have to basically fly at you and fly at the surface.
Yes.
Again, we're not dealing with average animals.
No, that's very true.
All of the animals have behaved in an unusual way, so we cannot assume that these are standard bats. Every animal trail that we've seen on the way in has turned around and gone back. These ones are living in it.
Yes.
They're ground zero. They're
certainly not intimidated by the sense of fear that this thing's radiating, because they're actually living in the heart of what's causing it.
So you know all that flammable oil that you've got?
that Gora has.
Yes.
How dry is it actually inside this bat skull of fear?
It's not hugely dry, but it's not as moist as outside. It's not as wet as outside because it's largely protected from the rain. I say largely, but having said that, there is a massive cleft down the side of it from the wound, so rain does get in here. The ground is not dry, but it's not exactly damp either. It's not dusty, but you're unlikely to leave a footprint in it.
Point of clarity, you did say that the bats aren't intimidated by the aura of fear in this place.
Yes.
Is that definitely coming from the place and not from the bats?
You don't actually know that. You have assumed it's coming from the skull.
They could be the cause.
They could be the cause.
That could be some sort of gestalt entity up there.
Mhm.
So, Sean, were you edging back towards setting fire to this place then?
Well, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Was the fire? I know I was in the bathroom at the time, but was the setting a fire idea Patrick's by any chance?
Yes.
What a good guess.
Wasn't it? Yes, I must be psychic.
Not a bad idea, though, was it?
Again, I couldn't possibly comment. You'll have to decide for yourselves whether that's a good or a bad
It's
idea.
only the thought that there might be an ally up there in the Skull of Fear.
There could be all sorts up there for all you know. That could be the hoard of treasure you've all been dreaming of. And it's all made of extremely expensive but very
Paper.
flammable silks.
What treasure has Courage been dreaming of? A polite plant.
You might not be in the right place for that, to be fair.
This is why I don't want to talk to them. So just every word out of their mouth will be filth.
Yeah, I had noticed that you hadn't attempted to talk to any of the plants since you went to the valley, and I did suspect that it was because
I've
you
learned my lesson, Brian.
Sorry?
I've learned my lesson.
There are plenty of polite plants out there. It's just you keep talking to ones in awkward, like the ones in the swamps and here and stuff. They're not at their best. So, what would everybody like to do anyway?
Okay, what are these vines rooted to? Where do they terminate?
They appear to be attached, to the ceiling, attached to the underside of the next bit of the skull. So it's to the ceiling, essentially.
So they go up to the ceiling, and then there's some sort of root network holding them in place?
Yes.
Could we fire that down?
You'd need to create quite an extensive fire to burn it all down.
We're role players. We can make an extensive fire. we can make an extensive fire by accident.
That's true.
Yes, but the strange fate of all RPG groups is that it can burn down an entire city by accident, but the minute they try to burn anything down on purpose...
Can't light this campfire and we're going to start and freeze to death.
Yeah, there's cantrips for that in D&D.
So, hate to sound like Bradley Walsh, but I'm going to have to push you for an answer. What would everybody like to do?
Feeding them is only going to keep them quiet for a short period of time, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Although are they still fighting over that one corpse?
No, they pulled that apart and drained the
damn.
various bits they caught quite some time ago.
Yeah. So these are like vampire vines. Vine-pyres.
Oh.
Yes, I suppose.
When they drag them away, are they dragging them towards some sort of mouth-like part?
No, they're just dragging them up into the air almost as if they were hanging them, hence the
Yes.
hanging vines. Yeah.
And then some sort of barbed parts on the vines themselves will be exsanguating them.
You assume so. You haven't actually seen that closely enough. You're aware that they pull them off the ground and then almost as if they were sort of hanging their victims, essentially. But then when they drop them, they always seem to be exsanguinated, yes.
I can't see any other animals in the immediate vicinity.
I am leaning towards the fire option myself now.
No,
I
you
suppose
can't see
if it
any
gets
other
out-
animals.
People come around to my way of thinking eventually.
If it gets out of control, we are next to a big river, and I am a water mage, so...
Yes, there is quite a lot of water out there.
I can't imagine that the fire would get out of control with us. It's inside a skull. What could go wrong?
Oh God.
Okay, so if that's the plan you're going to go with, how are you going to go about it?
That's the
Oh,
thing.
we've got a lot of moss and so forth. A lot of undergrowth.
A lot of undergrowth, a lot of weeds. The weeds themselves, if you're familiar with the kind of plants I mentioned, are certainly the shabby wedding's quite a dry plant. Um, not so much the stinging nettles, obviously, but you can still burn stinging nettles given enough heat.
Okay. Which direction is the wind blowing?
It will be blowing west to east.
So in through this and out through the other.
Yes.
Make a pile of it that has a visible path all the way to the vines. Big pile, kindling, mage's flint.
Okay, position yourselves as you're trying to place this thing.
I think right here at the door is good enough. Make it like a fuse that would just winds its way all the way around.
Okay, so you're starting to grab as much of the weed as you can, some of it from outside, some of it from inside, starting to form a little pile of kindling ready to set the place on fire and hope for the best. Let's just see if you attract the...
You stand by ready to throw some meat if that's what's required.
Yeah, okay. Let me just make a perception test for the beasties. I also have stealth tests from the rest of you, please? Because you're actively engaged in quite a lot of trying to... oh, damn it.
Is stealth under decks?
Yes.
Yes, it would be. You'll be at -2, and I've accidentally detached me dice roller, which I didn't want to do, but never mind. There we go. Okay, so so far the party is struggling a little bit to do this without being noticed by the hanging vines.
I can't help it if my outfit is loud.
So Tamara's making enough noise for a company. Nicholas Marty is singing them all a marching tune as you go. Aldrin, on the other hand, is about the only thing the vines struggled to notice, but I think they've still noticed. Yes, they have. They've still noticed him as well. And
Actually, I rolled a 19.
yeah, Kurd just blundering around like, surprisingly enough, a bear in the woods. So you've definitely attracted the strangle vine. So let's have a look. It starts slithering out towards you to attack. So it's going to attack whoever got the worst dex roll first. So Aldrin's fine.
That would be tomorrow.
That would be Tamara. Well, it's probably all that armour she wears, I suppose, to be fair. So it's going to make an attack against Tamara and attempt to hoist her up into the air. And the vine lashes out and grabs her. It tightens quickly. As it does, it's got one stunt point, so it hasn't actually gotten a good enough grip to yank her off the ground instead. So it will have to do... okay, it will knock her prone instead, and it will do... where's my dice roller gone? There it is. And it will do 4 damage, which I don't think is going to really do much other than knock her prone. So, where's Tamara? There she is. Just drag her over to roughly where she was standing when she got attacked, and knocking her prone. That would be Bosch. Now then, pulling out the turn order, removing all turns. Go ahead and start making your initiative rolls, if you would, please.
Oh gosh, where am I?
Okay.
Oh, that was annoying. I did click me first, but it doesn't seem to have transferred.
That's okay. I'll type it in for you. What did you get?
7.
7. Okay. So
Isn't
it's add
great.
turn and 7 and return. There we go. So we've got Hanging Vine, Courage, Nicholas Marty, Tamara Greyhawk. So we're just waiting for. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's right. Okay, so we're just waiting for Alderon. And my dice thing has disappeared again. There it is. Okay. So, Sean, can I have an initiative roll from you, please? Sean? Hello? Can we just get a sound off from everybody, please, to let me know that they can hear me?
I hear you.
I hear you.
We
I
appear
can hear you.
You can hear us, right? Excellent. Could I get an initiative roll from you, please?
Yeah, I did type a message saying I was going to the bathroom.
Ah, right. I didn't see that because unfortunately I've accidentally popped out my dice roller, which is also where the messages are. So I should have seen it, but I think all the anyway.
That message hasn't come through for me.
That'll probably be why I haven't seen it then. No, it hasn't come through on mine either. Not to worry.
I think it's
no.
failed to send.
Yeah, they do sometimes. We've got everybody now, that's the main thing. So, let me just reorganise these in descending order. And combat round 1, and it's Courage to go first.
Hmm.
What would Courage like to do? Just going to move that.
It's a plant.
Actually is.
It is. I can't imagine I can convince it, but I think it might be worth a try.
Okay.
So if this works, it'll be major action, plants, not called plants, wood speech, and then minor action to talk to it.
Right, yeah. Oh.
No, I failed anyway.
You failed anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
So you attempt to summon. Wait a minute. You've got the arcane focus, haven't you?
Yeah.
So because it's come up 0 for your arcane focus, so your actual result would be 13. So that
No,
is 12. Sorry.
I do not have the Arcana focus for wood.
For wood,
I've
right?
I've got it for beast because I'm a journeyman of beast.
That's right. Okay. Okay, so you're attempting to summon the power to speak to these plants, but something appears to be resistant. That's how you imagine it, anyway. And unfortunately, you are unable to contact the creatures. In Courage's mind, this is because of the evil of the valley. Whether that's true or not is another matter. But in Courage's mind, that's how he chooses to see it. Did you say that was a minor action?
No, the spell would have been the major. Me speaking to it would have been
a minor. Right. Okay. So that's Courage gone. That is Alderon to go. What would you like to do?
Right. Quick question.
Yep.
Is Tamara still holding the lit torch?
Yes.
Right.
Actually, because she was grabbed, somebody make a dexterity. Make a dexterity check. See if she managed to hold on to it.
Okay.
And Tamara Greyhawk has no. Actually, she's dropped the torch.
What?
Oh no.
Right. So it's on the floor. Has it gone out?
No, it hasn't gone out.
So it's still lit.
Yes.
So Alderon will jump across there, pick the torch up, and slap the vine with it.
Okay. Make an attack roll with it.
Would that be as if it's an improvised weapon?
It would, yes.
So that would be an accuracy
Yes.
roll. Yeah?
Yeah.
12.
12. I think you might have hit it, actually. Let's just see. Have. So, as it's trying to drag Tamara up into the end, she's resisting. She's holding on to the weeds and whatnot, and it's failing to pull her up. You run over, grab the torch where she's dropped it, and smack it down on the vine. Do us a d6 plus 1 damage. You can add your strength.
Add the strength as well, okay. But it was a dice roller. 9.
9, that's a decent amount of damage. So it has no armor. So that, oh no, wait a minute, it does. That's minus. Okay, so you hit it, there are sparks go off it. You haven't managed to catch it on fire because obviously it's still alive and therefore in itself quite wet. But you have definitely damaged it. You can see singeing where you've hit it with the torch. So next up is Tamara herself. What would you like to do?
Well, try to slice off the vine where it's wrapped around her. I assume it's wrapped around her leg.
It's wrapped around her leg. It was actually trying to go for her neck, but it missed. So go ahead.
Good job it missed. Jeez.
Yeah.
Very impolite plants. Very impolite.
Very impolite plants, yes. Much worse than the ones you met in the swamp at that time. Okay, Tamara swings round her sword and slices into the side of the vine. Roll the damage. She hacks at it as best she can. That would be... Yeah, she's caused a split in it. She's hacked part of the vine. It's still holding, but she's definitely damaged it quite a bit. So it is now the hanging vine to go, and it's going to attempt... Now, the other vines won't act this round, but they will at least get a chance to notice there is something to act about. So let's see. One vine hasn't noticed. The other vine has, so there'll now be 2 vines will attack on round from now on, both on the same initiative. However, this round it's just the one vine. It's attempting to get a better grip on Tamara. Sorry, I rolled the damage there instead of the to hit. It's attempting to slither up and round her neck. It gets upwards and tightens around her, but it still hasn't managed to get her by the neck, which is what it's trying to do. So it's just crushing her a bit for 4 points of damage, which with her armour I don't think is going to matter. So Nicholas...
it has to beat the armour, not equal it, yeah?
It has to beat the armour is subtracted from the damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the moment, she's not taking much damage from this thing. It just keeps trying. Nicholas Marty to go. What would you like to do?
I'm concerned about watering plants, so I'm going to try and arcane blast this vine instead.
Okay. That's Nicholas Marty there. So Nicholas Marty unleashes a blast with an arcane blast, which surges forth. It just manages to hit the vine. You thought for a moment it was going to miss, and then as the vine's tugging backwards on Tamara, trying to drag her away, it actually managed to pass inside the blast area. In other words, you hit with exactly the number you needed. Roll the hit. Roll the damage.
Excellent.
And 4 damage. Okay, some more crispiness on the side of the vine where you've damaged it a little bit with the arcane energy. Not as much as you would have hoped, but at least you've done some damage. And Courage to go, what would you like to do?
I'm going to attempt the same thing again. Well, it's probably going to work less this time, has less of a chance of working than it did even the first time. Okay, try again. Bit of wood speech.
Okay. Actually, you've succeeded on this
Yes.
occasion with 1 stunt point. So, as you summon the power to speak to the plants, you reach out and manage to get some form of connection, some form of communication going. What would you like to see?
When I said it has even less chance of working now, what I meant was, even if I cast it, trying to convince it to let go will have less of a chance of working now that we've been whacking the hell out of it.
Possibly so, yes.
Right. So, minor action, talking to it.
Mm-hmm.
Release our friend, we will feed you. We have wonderful meat and good blood.
Okay.
You don't have to eat our friend.
Make a communications persuasion roll. Okay. The vine seems very surprised and startled that you've spoken to it and that it can understand what you were saying. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me.
Yes, certainly. We brought you that wolf and the pieces of meat that you enjoyed before. Just release our friend. We've got a whole not an owl bear down here.
Okay, it does actually release tomorrow. Who can now stand up again? So I'll take that off. And, you can see the other one slithering in your direction as well, though. It's going to take a while to reach you. But yeah, this one's been convinced, so you throw it a piece of meat and it starts to drain that instead.
If you guarantee us safe passage, just up those stairs and then back again when we return, we will give you as much meat as you like. We can go off and hunt, we can bring things back. You will be very well fed. Just allow us to pass.
Okay, technically you're asking it for something more than before, but it's related, so I'm going to make another communication persuasion roll, but at +2.
Okay.
I'm starting to echo back through other people's mics a lot again.
Oh, sorry. I think I just got too excited and got closer to the screen.
Oh dear.
Okay.
That was at a +2 though for 11, yeah?
That was a +2 for 11, and that's just barely squeaked a pass. So
barely.
Just barely, yes. So it agrees, and as the other vine's getting closer, it spins round and like lashes out at it, causing the other vine to retreat suddenly. You may pass. So, we can stop the combat. You've talked it out of that. So I'm going to give you 25 points for that.
Thank you.
So what would everybody like to do now? You have a brief, what would you call it? Ceasefire with the plans?
Yes, we're not creating fire.
No.
Well, we're gonna need to know that because the rest of us don't understand plant.
Yes.
Okay, I relate that to the group.
Okay. Kurge explains to the rest of the group that he seems to have come to some agreement with the plants. At first, you're a little bit uncertain, but then you notice that they have released Tamara, who's now standing up and brushing herself off. And then she sort of points 2 fingers at her own eyes and then one back at the vine. And she repeats the brandishing a sword at it just to get a point across. The vine slithers a bit further back, the other vines slither away. You can hear a rustling in the leaves of the vines. You don't know whether they're communicating with each other or whether it's something else entirely. But
I do.
You do, and they're communicating with one another.
Okay.
So you throw...
Can I hear what they're saying?
It's just explaining the deal it's made.
All right. Okay.
And the other plants, they would having seen the damage that you've done to it, the other plants would much rather be fed by you than have to fight you for.
Yep.
So yeah, you managed to get through. You can all make your way through to the stairs if you would like to.
We shall.
Okay.
I'm not going first.
I will.
Okay, so you make your way through to the...
Do you want to go last, though?
No. I'm going to position myself quite nicely in the middle here.
Okay. So, as you climb the stairs up to the inside of... up to the inside of the next part of the skull where the brain cavity would normally be. You get the uncomfortable sensation that you're actually climbing up something's vertebrae. Even the sound of your feet on the stairs is like boots on bone, or paws on bone, I suppose. I don't know, does Kurge wear boots or does he have bare paws at both ends? I don't know.
Do you have bare feet?
Bare feet, yeah. You crunching up the stairs.
Noises.
You emerge into the main chamber above the staircase, which has a slightly concave floor of petrified bone and shallow depressions here and there. There's a huge gash down the left side through one eye orbit and down to the lower mandible on the level beneath. The light here is waxy and disorienting. The entire chamber oozes a sense of dread and fear. More vines radiate out across the floor of the chamber, although none of these seem to be hanging down from above. A large flock of bats are attached to the ceiling, and you get the impression that those bats are aware of your presence. You get an uncomfortable sensation that they are very much aware of you. So I'm just going to place you in the next map. I'm just going to try and figure out what this is. Before I do, there's something on the map I can't account for. Yep, I can. And that's it there. There's an error. Let's delete that. And I will just delete that one. Just say A flock, not 2. Okay, so you should all be able to see the new map now, the upper level.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the upper level of the skull that you've arrived in. You get a moment or two to notice what the area is like. As I say, it's a slightly concave area with these 2 slight further deeper recesses at the... We'll leave it for the week.
Ooh, shiny.
Yes. So, we will pick up next week at the start of the encounter with the aggressive, corrupted bats that you've encountered in the upstairs section of the second skull. Thank you very much for joining me. I will just dish out the experience points to the players while I think about it now. And I think our OBS is just disconnected. Okay, our OBS inexplicably disconnected briefly, then is reconnected, so I've no idea what that's going to do to the stream. But anyway, while I think about it, I'm going to give out the experience points to the players. So that first battle that we fought today, you can all have 250 points for that. And for managing to avoid the conflict with the creatures, I've already given 25 points to Patrick because it was his idea. So I think that's everything. Is there anything else you've overcome? No, that's it. 250 experience points to everybody then.
Yay.
Okay, thank you very much for joining me. And if we are still connected to the stream, I'm not quite sure since OBS temporarily disconnected. I don't know once that's done to the stream. But if we are still connected, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with part 3 of Valley of the Whispering Titans by Jesse Decker, adapted somewhat by myself. We'll see you next week when the party face the corrupted bats. And to the stream listeners, that's goodbye from us.